issues are actually...
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. I am David Sponheim, running for president in 2016 as a write-in candidate. The reason why we've chosen this method is because the election process is completely unfair. People are saying no to this fake debate. Oma, one of our viewers here, says that she's turning off her TV, not going to watch the debate. I don't blame you. The debate's coming up. We're going live to this stream. We're going to give you a blow-by-blow commentary as the unfolding of corruption out of the two parties continues. It is a sad day for America when it's defined by two of the greediest people running for office with absolutely no representation for the average American whatsoever.
Is it on, Dave?
Yes, we're going to live commentary. My sister's coming in to watch this.
Vegas, except for tonight, where they're calling this political fight night. The last two debates were called personal, nasty, dark. Our own Bob Schieffer called last week's showdown in St. Louis disgraceful. The whole discussion today has been, so what will we see tonight? Because a lot has happened in the past 10 days.
In fact, Donald Trump is now down 9 points in our latest CBS News poll.
9
no
points.
Presidential candidate has made up a deficit that large this close to the election.
Strategist Frank Luntz will be watching the here in the battleground state of Nevada, and we'll hear what they have to say when this is all over about 90 minutes from now.
The nonpartisan debate commission chose Chris Wallace of Fox to moderate the debate, and he is solely responsible for the questions. John Dickerson is with us, and John, we heard from the debate commission that they want this to be a substantive debate, drilling down on...
They're not going to talk about chemtrails. They're not going to talk about the GMOs in our diet.
He's defending himself all the time.
Trump is going to be saying he never groped these women that are all coming out of the woodwork saying that they were groped
But he might
with
attack
witnesses.
Her. He might attack her on corruption.
Do you think that he might physically attack Hillary? You know, because he's talked about people using... No, seriously, Donald Trump has talked seriously about people using their Second Amendment against Hillary. Now that, I'm sorry, but that is he's intimating that the people should be using their guns. And I think that's a sad, sad statement coming out of a presidential candidate.
Well, if Trump advisors get their way, and that's not always the case with Donald Trump, he will change the subject away from a barrage of stories accusing him of sexual misconduct, and in some cases worse, and also embrace the mantle of change, describe himself persuasively, his advisors hope, as a genuine agent of change on the economy, on security, and on special interest influence in Washington. If he can do that, Trump advisors believe he can reignite a campaign that's gone through a very tough patch.
Major thank you. Nancy Cordes covers the Clinton campaign. Nancy?
Nora, Clinton's approach tonight, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Her aides believe these debates have been the catalyst for her rise in the polls the past few weeks because she's been able to show she can stand up to Donald Trump and keep her cool when he sometimes does not. The one wild card, how does she explain the misgivings her own aides have expressed about her instincts in those hacked emails?
All right, the debate is about to begin. Let's go down to the stage for this final presidential debate.
Good evening from the Thomas and Mack Center at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the third and final of the 2016 presidential debates between Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format: 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2-minute answers to the first question, then open discussion for the rest of each segment. Both campaigns have agreed to those rules. For the record, I decided the topics and the questions in each topic. None of those questions has been shared with the commission or the two candidates. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions so we and you can focus on what the candidates have to say. No noise except right now as we welcome the Democratic nominee for president, Secretary Clinton, and the Republican nominee for president, Mr. Trump. Secretary Clinton, Mr. Trump, welcome. Let's get right to it. The first topic is the Supreme Court. You both talked briefly about the court in the last debate, but I want to drill down on this because the next president will almost certainly have at least one appointment and likely or possibly 2 or 3 appointments, which means that you will, in effect, determine the balance of the court for what could be the next quarter century. First of all, where do you want to see the court take the country? And secondly, what's your view on how the Constitution should be interpreted? Do the founders' words mean what they say, or is it a living document to be applied flexibly according to changing circumstances? In this segment, Secretary Clinton, you go first. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thanks to UNLV for hosting us. You know, I think when we talk about the Supreme Court, it really raises the central issue in this election. Namely, what kind of country are we going to be? What kind of opportunities will we provide for our citizens? What kind of rights will Americans have? And I feel strongly that the Supreme Court needs to stand on the side of the American people, not on the side of the powerful corporations and the wealthy. For me, that means that we need a Supreme Court that will stand up on behalf of women's rights, on behalf of the rights of the LGBT community, that will stand up and say no to Citizens United, a decision that has undermined the election system in our country because of the way it permits dark, unaccountable money to come into our electoral system. I have major disagreements with my opponent about these issues and others that will be before the Supreme Court. But I feel that at this point in our country's history, it is important that we not reverse marriage equality, that we not reverse Roe v. Wade, that we stand up against Citizens United, we stand up for the rights of people in the workplace, that we stand up and basically say, the Supreme Court should represent all of us. That's how I see the court, and the kind of people that I would be looking to nominate to the court would be in the great tradition of standing up to the powerful, standing up on behalf of our rights as Americans. And I look forward to having that opportunity. I would hope that the Senate would do its job and confirm the nominee that President Obama has sent to them. That's the way the Constitution fundamentally should operate. The President nominates, and then the Senate advises and consents or not, but they go forward with the process.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr. Trump, same question. Where do you want to see the court take the country, and how do you believe the Constitution should be interpreted?
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you, and thank you, everybody. The Supreme Court, it's what it's all about. Our country is it's just so imperative that we have the right justices. Something happened recently where Justice Ginsburg made some very, very inappropriate statements toward me and toward a tremendous number of people, many, many millions of people that I represent. And she was forced to apologize, and apologize she did. But these were statements that should never, ever have been made. We need a Supreme Court that, in my opinion, is going to uphold the Second Amendment and all amendments, but the Second Amendment, which is under absolute siege. I believe if my opponent should win this race, which I truly don't think will happen, we will have a Second Amendment, which will be a very, very small replica of what it is right now. But I feel that it's absolutely important that we uphold because of the fact that it is under such trauma. I feel that the justices that I am going to appoint, and I've named 20 of them, the justices that I'm going to appoint will be pro-life. They will have a conservative bent. They will be protecting the Second Amendment. They are great scholars in all cases, and they're people of tremendous respect. They will interpret the Constitution the way the founders wanted it interpreted, and I believe that's very, very important.
It's kind of low key tonight.
Yeah. Very low key.
I don't think we should have justices appointed that decide what they want to hear. It's all about the Constitution and so important, the Constitution, the way it was meant to be. And those are the people that I will appoint.
Mr. Trump, thank you. We now have about 10 minutes for an open discussion. I want to focus on two issues that, in fact, by the justices that you name, could end up changing the existing law of the land. First is one that you mentioned, Mr. Trump, and that is guns. Secretary Clinton, you said last year, let me quote, "The Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment." And now, in fact, in the 2008 Heller case, the court ruled that there is a constitutional right to bear arms, but a right that is reasonably limited. Those were the words of the judge, Antonin Scalia, who wrote the decision. What's wrong with that?
Well, first of all, I support the Second Amendment. I lived in Arkansas for 18 wonderful years. I represented upstate New York. I understand and respect the tradition of gun ownership. It goes back to the founding of our country. But I also believe that there can be and must be reasonable regulation.
Total lie.
Because I support the Second Amendment doesn't mean that I want people who shouldn't have guns to be able to threaten you, kill you or members of your family. And so when I think about what we need to do, we have 33,000 people a year who die from guns. I think we need comprehensive background checks, need to close the online loophole, close the gun show loophole. There's other matters that I think are sensible, that are the kind of reforms that would make a difference, that are not in any way conflicting with the Second Amendment. You mentioned the Heller decision, and what I was saying that you referenced, Chris, was that I disagreed with the way the court applied the Second Amendment in that case, because what the District of Columbia was trying to do was to protect toddlers from guns. And so they wanted people with guns to safely store them. And the court didn't accept that reasonable regulation, but they've accepted many others. So I see no conflict between saving people's lives and defending the Second Amendment.
Let me bring Mr. Trump in here. The bipartisan open debate
Mike Wallace has some severe constipation at this time. Please hold while he gets a suitable laxative. We're having a little problem typing in debate. Excuse the... yeah, we have a problem every time. You know, I took his cue and I said, go ahead and type in the chat room. And of course, the chat room has Flash involved in it, I'm sure. And I'm going to have to shut down my feed, which is unfortunate considering I want to watch this. Yeah. And when Flash does this, it's typical of the hardware. So I'm not going to be typing in the chat room. If you guys go into the live YouTube chat room that we have, just go ahead and post write in David Sponheim for the election. That'd be great. Okay, we're loading chat again. We should be up and running for the presidential debate.
One who has loaded guns in their homes takes appropriate precautions. But there's no doubt that I respect the Second Amendment, that I also believe there's an individual right to bear arms.
Another lie.
That is not in conflict with sensible, common sense regulation. And, you know, look, I understand that Donald's been strongly supported by the NRA. The gun lobby's on his side. They're running millions of dollars of ads against me. And I regret that, because what I would like to see is for people to come together and say, of course we're going to protect and defend the Second Amendment, but we're going to do it in a way that tries to save some of these 33,000 lives that we lose every year.
Let me bring Mr. Trump back into this, because in fact you oppose any limits on assault weapons, any limits on high-capacity magazines. You support a national right to carry law.
But I'm very proud to have the endorsement. Well, let me just tell you, the NRA is the earliest endorsement they've ever given to anybody who ran for president. So I'm very honored by all of that. We are going to appoint justices. This is the best way to help the Second Amendment. We are going to appoint justices that will feel very strongly about the Second Amendment, that will not do damage to the Second Amendment.
Well, let's pick up on another issue which divides you and the justices that whoever ends up winning this election appoints could have a dramatic effect there, and that's the issue of abortion.
Right.
Mr. Trump, you're pro-life, but I want to ask you specifically, do you want the court, including the justices that you will name, to overturn Roe v. Wade, which includes, in fact states, a woman's right to abortion?
Well, if that would happen, because I am pro-life and I will be appointing pro-life judges, I would think that that will go back to the individual states.
But I'm asking you specifically, would you like...
If they overturned it, it'll go back to the states.
But what I'm asking you, sir, is, do you want to see the court overturn? You just said you want to see the court protect the Second Amendment. Do you want to see the court overturn Roe v. Wade?
Well, if we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, that will happen. And that'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life justices on the court. I will say this, it will go back to the states, and the states will then make a determination.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I strongly support Roe v. Wade, which guarantees a constitutional right to a woman to make the most intimate, most difficult in many cases, decisions about her health care that one can imagine. And in this case, it's not only about Roe v. Wade. It is about what's happening right now in America. So many states.
How does she know what's going on?
Partial birth abortion, the eliminating of abortion in the 3rd trimester. Big issue in Washington. Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of abortion. I hate it. I hate everything it stands for.
But he is very, very much pro-choice.
I thought he said he was
Yeah, he's completely lying about that.
Oh, he's lying? Oh,
Yeah.
You better give him a lie there. Give him a lie.
I did. I give him a lie. I'm going to give him another five lies.
I don't hear him snorting his cocaine anymore. What happened?
Yeah, he doesn't do cocaine.
I think he cleaned up.
You know, accusing him of doing cocaine is just not right.
Well, I thought that's what you did.
No, I mean, a lot of people have accused him of doing cocaine. I'm not one of them.
It is saying that the fetus has no constitutional rights. You also voted against a ban on late-term partial birth abortions. Why?
Yes.
Because Roe v. Wade very clearly sets out that there can be regulations on abortion so long as the life and the health of the mother are taken into account. And when I voted as a senator, I did not think that that was the case. The kinds of cases that fall at the end of pregnancy are often the most heartbreaking, painful decisions for families to make. I have met with women who, toward the end of their pregnancy, get the worst news one could get, that their health is in jeopardy if they continue to carry to term, or that something terrible has happened or just been discovered about the pregnancy. I do not think the United States government should be stepping in and making those most personal of decisions. So you can regulate, if you are doing so, with the life and the health of the mother taken into account.
Mr. Trump, your reaction, and particularly on this issue of late-term partial birth
Well, I think it's terrible. If you go with what Hillary is saying, in the 9th month, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby. Now, you can say that that's okay, and Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me. Because based on what she's saying and based on where she's going and where she's been, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month on the final day. And that's not acceptable.
Well, that is not what happens in these cases. And using that kind of scare rhetoric is just terribly unfortunate. You should meet with some of the women that I've met with, women I've known over the course of my life. This is one of the worst possible choices that any woman and her family has to make. And I do not believe the government should be making it. You know, I've had the great honor of traveling across the world on behalf of our country. I've been to countries where governments either forced women to have abortions like they used to do in China, or forced women to bear children like they used to do in Romania. And I can tell you the government has no business in the decisions that women make with their families in accordance with their faith, with medical advice, and I will stand up for that right.
All right. Just briefly, I want to move on to another
honestly,
segment.
nobody has business doing what I just said, doing that as late as 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days prior to birth. Nobody has that.
All right, let's move on to the subject of immigration. And there is almost no issue that separates the two of you more than the issue of immigration. Actually, there are a lot of issues that separate the two of you. Mr. Trump, you want to build a wall. Secretary Clinton, you have offered no specific plan for how you want to secure our southern border. Mr. Trump, you are calling for major deportations. Secretary Clinton, you say that within your first 100 days as president, you're going to offer a package that includes a pathway to citizenship. The question really is, why are you right and your opponent wrong? Mr. Trump, you go first in this segment. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, she wants to give amnesty, which is a disaster and very unfair to all of the people that are waiting online for many, many years. We need strong borders. In the audience tonight, we have 4 mothers of, I mean, these are unbelievable people that I've gotten to know over a period of years whose children have been killed, brutally killed by people that came into the country illegally. You have thousands of mothers and fathers and relatives all over the country. They're coming in illegally. Drugs are pouring in through the border. We have no country if we have no border. Hillary wants to give amnesty. She wants to have open borders. The border secure, as you know, the Border Patrol agents, 16,500 plus ICE last week endorsed me. First time they've ever endorsed a candidate. It means their job is tougher, but they know what's going on. They know it better than anybody. They want strong borders. They feel we have to have strong borders. I was up in New Hampshire the other day. The biggest complaint they have, it's with all of the problems going on in the world, many of the problems caused by Hillary Clinton and by Barack Obama, all of the problems, their single biggest problem is heroin that pours across our southern borders, just pouring and destroying their youth. It's poisoning the blood of their youth and plenty of other people. We have to have strong borders. We have to keep the drugs out of our country. We are right now, we're getting the drugs, they're getting the cash. We need strong borders. We need absolute, we cannot give amnesty. Now, I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall. We stop the drugs. We shore up the border. One of my first acts will be to get all of the drug lords, all of the bad ones. We have some bad people in this country that have to go out. We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest.
Problem, I'm telling you.
We have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Welcome back, 173.
Mr. Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Secretary Clinton. Basically, why are you right and Mr. Trump is wrong?
Well, as he was talking, I was thinking about a young girl I met here in Las Vegas, Carla,
lesbian lover?
who was very worried that her parents might be deported because she was born in this country, but they were not. They work hard. They do everything they can to give her a good life. And you're right. I don't want to rip families apart.
I don't
want to be sending parents away from children. I don't want to see the deportation force that Donald has talked about in action in our country. We have 11 million undocumented people. They have 4 million American citizens.
More than 11 million. Try 30 million.
He said as recently as a few weeks ago in Phoenix that every undocumented person would be subject to deportation. Now, here's what that means. It means you would have to have a massive law enforcement presence where law enforcement officers would be going school to school, home to home, business to business, rounding up people who are undocumented. And we would then have to put them on trains, on buses to get them out of our country. I think that is an idea that is not in keeping with who we are as a nation. I think it's an idea that would rip our country apart. I have been for border security for years. I voted for border security in the United States Senate. And my comprehensive immigration reform plan, of course, includes border security. But I want to put our resources where I think they're most needed. Getting rid of any violent person, anybody who should be deported, we should deport them. When it comes to the wall that Donald talks about building, he went to Mexico, he had a meeting with the Mexican president, didn't even raise it, he choked. And then got into a Twitter war because the Mexican president said, we're not paying for that wall. So I think we are both a nation of immigrants and we are a nation of laws, and that we can act accordingly. And that's why I'm introducing comprehensive immigration reform within the first 100 days with a path to citizenship.
Thank you, Secretary Clinton. I want to follow up.
I think I should respond to that. First of all, I had a very good meeting with the president of Mexico, very nice man. We will be doing very much better with Mexico on trade deals, believe me. The NAFTA deal signed by her husband is one of the worst deals ever made of any kind, signed by anybody. It's a disaster. Hillary Clinton wanted the wall.
That's not the only thing.
Hillary Clinton fought for the wall in 2006 or thereabouts. Now, she never gets anything done, so naturally the wall wasn't built.
He's saying Hillary Clinton fought for the wall.
But Hillary Clinton wanted the wall.
Well, let me,
we are a country of laws.
Really?
And by the way,
I'd like to hear from. I'd like to hear from Secretary Clinton.
You can.
I voted for border security, and there are some limited places where that was appropriate. There also is necessarily going to be new technology and how best to deploy that. But it is clear when you look at what Donald has been proposing. He started his campaign bashing immigrants, calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals and drug dealers, that he has a very different view about what we should do to deal with immigrants. Now, what I am also arguing is that bringing undocumented immigrants out from the shadows, putting them into the formal economy will be good, because then employers can't exploit them and undercut Americans' wages. And Donald knows a lot about this. He used undocumented labor to build the Trump Tower. He underpaid undocumented workers, and when they complained, he basically said what a lot of employers do. You complain, I'll get you deported. I want to get everybody out of the shadows, get the economy working, and not let employers like Donald exploit undocumented workers, which hurts them but also hurts American workers.
Mr. Trump.
President Obama has moved millions of people out. Nobody knows about it. Nobody talks about it. But under Obama, millions of people have been moved out of this country. They've been deported. She doesn't want to say that, but that's what's happened, and that's what's happened big league. As far as moving these people out and moving, we either have a country or we don't. We're a country of laws. We either have a border or we don't. Now, you can come back in and you can become a citizen,
up to 8.
but it's very unfair. We have millions of people that did it the right way. They're online. They're waiting. We're going to speed up the process big league because it's very inefficient. But they're online and they're waiting to become citizens. Very unfair that somebody runs across the border, becomes a citizen. Under her plan, you have open borders. You would have a disaster on trade, and you will have a disaster with your open borders. But what she doesn't say is that President Obama has deported millions and millions of people just the way
Secretary Clinton,
I want to go on the record right now to talk about how I'm the guy who's been talking about stopping refugees for 8 years. I'm the guy who came up with a 1,000-mile fence idea in 2008. I counted the miles, the linear miles we needed.
Immigration reform, and George W. Bush supported it as well.
Secretary Clinton, I want to clear up your position on this issue, because in a speech you gave to a Brazilian bank for which you were paid $225,000, we've learned from the WikiLeaks that you said this, and I want to quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders." So that's the question. That's the question. Please quiet everybody. Is that your dream, open borders?
Well, if you went on to read the rest of the sentence, I was talking about energy. You know, we trade more energy with our neighbors than we trade with the rest of the world combined. And I do want us to have an electric grid, an energy system that crosses borders. I think that will be a great benefit to us. But you are very clearly quoting from WikiLeaks, and what's really important about WikiLeaks is that the Russian government has engaged in espionage against Americans. They have hacked American websites, American accounts of private people, of institutions. Then they have given that information to WikiLeaks for the purpose of putting it on the internet. This has come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort, as 17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed, to influence our election. So I actually think the most important question of this evening, Chris, is finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this and make it clear that he will not have the help of Putin in this election, that he rejects Russian espionage against Americans, which he actually encouraged in the past. Those are the questions we need answered. We've never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
That was a great pivot off the fact that she wants open borders, okay? How did we get onto Putin?
Hold on.
No.
Wait. Hold on, folks, because this is going to end up getting out of control. Let's try to keep it quiet for the candidates and for the American people.
So just to finish on the borders.
Yes.
She wants open borders. People are going to pour into our country. People are going to come in from Syria. She wants 550% more people than Barack Obama. And he has thousands and thousands of people. They have no idea where they come from. And you see, we are going to stop radical Islamic terrorism in this country. She won't even mention the words, and neither will President Obama. So I just want to tell you, she wants open borders. Now we can talk about Putin. I don't know Putin. He said nice things about me. If we got along well, that would be good. If Russia and the United States got along well and went after ISIS, that would be good. He has no respect for her. He has no respect for our president. And I'll tell you what, we're in very serious trouble because we have a country with tremendous numbers of nuclear warheads, 1,800, by the way, where they expanded and we didn't. 1,800 nuclear warheads. And she's playing chicken. Look, Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit that the Russians have engaged in cyber attacks against the United States of America, that you encouraged espionage against our people, that you are willing to spout the Putin line, sign up for his wish list, break up NATO, do whatever he wants to do, and that you continue to
all over the place.
get
Putin
help from him because he has a very clear favorite in this race.
We've got all the connections.
I think that this
is
such an unprecedented situation. We've never had a foreign government trying to interfere in our election. We have 17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded that these espionage attacks, these cyber attacks, come from the highest levels of the Kremlin, and they are designed to influence our election. I find that deeply disturbing, and I think it's
She
time.
has no idea whether it's Russia, China, or anybody else.
I am not quoting
she has
myself.
No idea.
I am quoting
Hillary, you have no idea.
17 do you doubt 17
our
military and
no
civilian
idea.
agencies? Well,
Yeah,
he'd rather believe Vladimir Putin than the military and civilian intelligence professionals who are sworn to protect us. I find that just absolutely.
She doesn't like Putin because Putin has outsmarted her at every step of the way.
Look at
Excuse
this.
me.
He's
Putin
standing
has
up for Putin
outsmarted
now.
her in Syria. He's outsmarted her every step of the way.
I do get to ask some questions.
Yes,
and I would like to
This
ask
guy's
you
Russian.
this direct question. The top national security officials
Trump
of this
Russian?
country do believe that Russia has been behind these hacks. Even if you don't know for sure whether they are, do you condemn any interference by Russia in the American election?
By Russia or anybody else.
You condemn their interference?
Of course I condemn. Of course I can. I don't know Putin. I have no idea. I never met Putin. This is not my best friend. But if the United States got along with Russia, wouldn't be so bad. Let me tell you, Putin has outsmarted her and Obama at every single step of the way. Whether it's Syria, no, you name it.
That's not
missiles.
necessarily true.
Take a look at the startup that they signed. The Russians have said, according to many, many reports, I can't believe they allowed us to do this. They create warheads and we can't. The Russians can't believe it. She has been outsmarted by Putin, and all you have to do is look at the Middle East. They've taken over. We've spent $6 trillion. They've taken over the Middle East. She has been outsmarted and outplayed worse than anybody I've ever seen in any government whatsoever.
We're a long way away from immigration, but I'm going to let you finish this talk.
Well,
You got about 45 seconds.
Yeah,
And she always will be.
I find it ironic that he's raising nuclear weapons. This is a person who has been very cavalier, even casual, about the use of nuclear weapons. He's advocated more countries getting them, Japan, Korea, even Saudi Arabia. He said, well, if we have them, why don't we use them, which I think is terrifying. But here's the deal. The bottom line on nuclear weapons is that when the president gives the order, it must be followed. There's about 4 minutes between the order being given and the people responsible for launching nuclear weapons to do so. And that's why 10 people who have had that awesome responsibility have come out and in an unprecedented way said they would not trust Donald Trump with the nuclear codes or to have his finger on the nuclear button.
I have 200 generals and admirals, 21 endorsing me, 21 Congressional Medal of Honor recipients. As far as Japan and other countries, we are being ripped off by everybody in the world. We're defending other countries. We are spending a fortune doing it. They have the bargain of the century. All I said is we have to renegotiate these agreements because our country cannot afford to defend Saudi Arabia, Japan, Germany, South Korea, and many other places. We cannot continue to afford. She took that as saying nuclear weapons. Look, she's been proven to be a liar on so many different ways. This is just another lie.
Well, I'm just quoting you when
There's
we're
no
asked
quote.
about
You're not going to find a quote from me.
nuclear competition in Asia. You said, go ahead, enjoy yourselves, folks. That kind
And
of
defend
language,
yourselves. And defend yourselves. I didn't say nuclear. And defend yourself.
The United States has kept the peace through our alliances. Donald wants to tear up our alliances. I think it makes the world safer, and frankly, it makes the United States safer. I would work with our allies in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, and elsewhere. That's the only way we're going to be able to keep the peace.
We are going to move on to the next topic, which is the economy, and I hope we handle that as well as we did immigration. You also have very different ideas about how to get the economy growing faster. Secretary Clinton, in your plan, government plays a big role. You see more government spending, more entitlements, more tax credits, more tax penalties. Mr. Trump, you want to get government out with lower taxes and less regulation.
Yes.
We're going to drill down into this a little bit more, but in this overview, please explain to me why you believe that your plan will create more jobs and growth for this country and your opponent's plan will not. In this round, you go first, Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think when the middle class thrives, America thrives. And so my plan is based on growing the economy, giving middle class families many more opportunities. I want us to have the biggest jobs program since World War II, jobs in infrastructure and advanced manufacturing. I think we can compete with high-wage countries, and I believe we should. New jobs and clean energy, not only to fight climate change, which is a serious problem, but to create new opportunities and new businesses. I want us to do more to help small business. That's where 2/3 of the new jobs are going to come from. I want us to raise the national minimum wage because people who live in poverty should not, who work full-time should not still be in poverty. And I sure do want to make sure women get equal pay for the work we do. I feel strongly that we have to have an education system that starts with preschool and goes through college. That's why I want more technical education in high schools and in community colleges, real apprenticeships to prepare young people for the jobs of the future. I want to make college debt-free, and for families making less than $125,000, you will not get a tuition bill from a public college or university if the plan that I worked on with Bernie Sanders is enacted. And we're going to work hard to make sure that it is, because we are going to go where the money is. Most of the gains in the last years since the Great Recession have gone to the very top. So we are going to have the wealthy pay their fair share. We're going to have corporations make a contribution greater than they are now to our country. That is a plan that has been analyzed by independent experts, which said that it could produce 10 million new jobs. By contrast, Donald's plan has been analyzed to conclude it might lose 3.5 million jobs. Why? Because his whole plan is to cut taxes, to give the biggest tax breaks ever to the wealthy and to corporations, adding $20 trillion to our debt and causing the kind of dislocation that we have seen before, because it truly will be trickle-down economics on steroids. So the plan I have, I think, will actually produce greater opportunities. The plan he has will cost us jobs and possibly lead to another great recession.
Secretary, thank you. Mr. Trump, why will your plan create more jobs and growth than Secretary Clinton?
Well, first of all, before I start on my plan, her plan is going to raise taxes and even double your taxes. Her tax plan is a disaster. And she can say all she wants about college tuition, and I'm a big proponent. We're going to do a lot of things for college tuition, but the rest of the public's going to be paying for it. We will have a massive, massive tax increase under Hillary Clinton's plan. But I'd like to start off where we left, because when I said Japan and Germany, and I'm not to single them out, but South Korea, these are very rich, powerful countries. Saudi Arabia, nothing but money. We protect Saudi Arabia. Why aren't they paying? She immediately, when she heard this, I questioned it. And I questioned NATO. Why aren't the NATO questions? Why aren't they paying? Because they weren't paying. Since I did this was a year ago, all of a sudden they're paying. And I've been given a lot of credit for it. All of a sudden they're starting to pay up. They have to pay up. We're protecting people. They have to pay up. And I'm a big fan of NATO, but they have to pay up. She comes out and says,
right?
We love our allies. We think our allies are great. Well, it's awfully hard to get them to pay up when you have somebody saying, we think how great they are. We have to tell Japan in a very nice way. We have to tell Germany, all of these countries, South Korea.
At least one.
We have to say, you have to help us out.
29, okay.
We have, during his regime, during President Obama's regime, we've doubled our national debt. We're up to $20 trillion. So my plan, we're going to renegotiate trade deals. We're going to have a lot of free trade. We're going to have free trade, more free trade than we have right now. But we have horrible deals. Our jobs are being taken out by the deal that her husband signed, NAFTA, one of the worst deals ever. Our jobs are being sucked out of our economy. You look at all of the places that I just left. You go to Pennsylvania, you go to Ohio, you go to Florida, you go to any of them. You go upstate New York. Our jobs have fled to Mexico and other places. We're bringing our jobs back. I am going to renegotiate NAFTA. And if I can't make a great deal, then we're going to terminate NAFTA and we're going to create new deals. We're going to have trade. But we're going to terminate it. We're going to make a great trade deal. And if we can't, we're going to do it. We're going to go a separate way, because it has been a disaster. We're going to cut taxes massively. We're going to cut business taxes massively. They're going to start hiring people. We're going to bring the $2.5 trillion that's offshore back into the country. We are going to start the engine rolling again, because right now our country is dying at 1% GDP.
That's not dying.
Let me translate that if I can.
We have
Chris,
a growth rate of
because,
1%. That's not dying.
You can't.
The fact
That's
is,
just a lie.
he's going to advocate for the largest tax cuts we've ever seen, 3 times more than the tax cuts under the Bush administration. I have said repeatedly throughout this campaign, I will not raise taxes on anyone making $250,000 or less. I also will not add a penny to the debt. I have costed out what I'm going to do. He will, through his massive tax cuts, add $20 trillion to the debt. Well, he mentioned the debt. We know how to get control of the debt. When my husband was president, we went from a $300 billion deficit to a $200 billion surplus, and we were actually on the path to eliminating the national debt. When President Obama came into office, he inherited the worst economic disaster since the Great Depression. He has cut the deficit by 2/3. So, yes, one of the ways you go after the debt, one of the ways you create jobs is by investing in people. So I do have investments in new jobs, investments in education, skill training, and the opportunities for people to get ahead and stay ahead. That's the kind of approach that will work. Cutting taxes on the wealthy, we've tried that. It has not worked the way that it has been promised.
Secretary Clinton, I want to pursue your plan because in many ways it is similar to the Obama stimulus plan in 2009, which has led to the slowest GDP growth since 1949.
Correct.
Thank you, sir. You told me in July when we spoke that the problem is that President Obama didn't get to do enough in what he was trying to do with this stimulus. So is your plan basically even more of the Obama stimulus?
Well, it's a combination, Chris. And let me say that when you inherit the level of economic catastrophe that President Obama inherited, it was a real touch-and-go situation. I was in the Senate before I became Secretary of State. I've never seen people as physically distraught as the Bush administration team was because of what was happening to the economy. I personally believe that the steps that President Obama took saved the economy. He doesn't get the credit he deserves for taking some very hard positions. But it was a terrible recession. So now we've dug ourselves out of it. We're standing, but we're not yet running. So what I am proposing is that we invest from the middle out and the ground up, not the top down. That is not going to work. That's why what I have put forward doesn't add a penny to the debt, but it is the kind of approach that will enable more people to take those new jobs, higher paying jobs. We're beginning to see some increase in incomes, and we certainly have had a long string of increasing jobs. We've got to do more to get the whole economy moving, and that's what I believe I will be able to do.
Mr. Trump, even conservative economists who have looked at your plan say that the numbers don't add up, that your idea, and you've talked about 25 million jobs created, 4%
over a 10-year period
growth, is unrealistic. And they say, you talk a lot about growing the energy industry, they say with oil prices as low as they are right now, that's unrealistic as well. Your response?
So I just left some high representatives of India. They're growing at 8%. China is growing at 7%, and that for them is a catastrophically low number. We are growing. Our last report came out, and it's right around the 1% level, and I think it's going down. Last week, as you know, at the end of last week, they came out with an anemic jobs report, a terrible jobs report. In fact, I said, is that the last jobs report before the election? Because if it is, I should win easily. It was so bad. The report was so bad. Look, our country is stagnant. We've lost our jobs. We've lost our businesses.
Oh, come on.
We're not making things anymore, relatively speaking.
He called our country
our product is pouring in from China, pouring in from Vietnam, pouring in from all over the world.
Can you imagine
I've
calling our
visited
great
so many
nation a third world
communities. This
nation?
has been such an incredible education for me.
Shut up with the negativity. He's a negative Nelly, man. This guy just complains, and look at him. He's been borrowing money all the way to cover his corporate bankruptcies.
Because of the bill that her husband signed and she blessed 100%. It is just horrible what's happened to these people in these communities. Now, she can say that her husband did well, but boy, did they suffer as NAFTA kicked in, because it didn't really kick in very much, but it kicked in after they left. Boy, did they suffer. That was one of the worst things that's ever been signed by our country. Now she wants to sign Trans-Pacific Partnership, and she wants it. She lied when she said she didn't call it the gold standard in one of the debates. She totally lied. She did call it the gold standard, and they actually fact-checked, and they said I was right. I was so
I want to give you a chance to briefly speak to that, and then I want to pivot to 1/6
and that
of the
will be
economy,
as bad as now.
which is Obamacare. But go ahead.
Well,
briefly.
First, let me say, number one, when I saw the final agreement for TPP, I said I was against it. It didn't meet my tests. I've had the same tests. Does it create jobs, raise incomes, and further our national security? I'm against it now. I'll be against it after the election. I'll be against it when I'm president. There's only one of us on this stage who's actually shipped jobs to Mexico, because that's Donald. He's shipped jobs to 12 countries, including Mexico. But he mentioned China. And, you know, one of the biggest problems we have with China is the illegal dumping of steel and aluminum into our markets. I have fought against that. As a senator, I've stood up against it as Secretary of State. Donald has bought Chinese steel and aluminum. In fact, the Trump hotel right here in Las Vegas was made with Chinese steel. So he goes around with crocodile tears about how terrible it is, but he has given jobs to Chinese steel workers, not American steel workers.
Mr. Trump?
That's the kind of approach that is just not going to work. We're going to pull the country together. We're going to have trade agreements that we enforce. That's why I'm going to have a trade prosecutor for the first time in history, and we're going to enforce those agreements, and we're going to look for businesses to help us by buying American products.
I ask a simple question. She's been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years? You were very much involved. Excuse me. My turn. You were very much involved in every aspect of this country. Very much. And you do have experience. I'd say the one thing you have over me is experience, but it's bad experience because what you've done has turned out badly. For 30 years, you've been in a position to help. And if you say that I use steel or I use something else, I make it impossible for me to do that. I wouldn't mind. The problem is you talk, but you don't get anything done, Hillary.
What about you, buddy?
Just like when you ran the State Department.
Yeah, you talk and you get nothing done.
$6 billion was missing. How do you miss $6 billion? You ran the State Department.
How do you corporately bankrupt?
$6 billion was either stolen. They don't know. It's gone. $6 billion.
That's nothing to you. That's a snort. Did you see a snort?
This country is going to be in some
I don't like either one of them.
Believe me.
Well, first of all, what he just said about the State Department is not only untrue, it's been debunked numerous times. But I think it's really an important issue. He raised the 30 years of experience. So let me just talk briefly about that. You know, back in the 1970s, I worked for the Children's Defense Fund, and I was taking on discrimination against African American kids in schools. He was getting sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination in his apartment buildings. In the 1980s, I was working to reform the schools in Arkansas. He was borrowing $14 million from his father to start his businesses. In the 1990s, I went to Beijing, and I said women's rights are human rights. He insulted a former Miss Universe, Alicia Machado, called her an eating machine. And on the day when I was in the Situation Room, monitoring the raid that brought Osama bin Laden to justice, he was hosting the Celebrity Apprentice. So I'm happy to compare my 30 years of experience, what I've done for this country, trying to help in every way I could, especially kids and families, get ahead and stay ahead, with your 30 years, and I'll let the American people make that decision.
Well, I think I did a much better job. I built a massive company, a great company, some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world.
BS.
Worth many, many billions
What a liar.
of dollars. I started with a $1 million loan. I agree with that. It's a $1 million loan, but I built a phenomenal company. And if we could run our country the way I've run my company, we would have a country that you would be so proud of.
You'd be bankrupt.
You would even be proud of it. And frankly, when you look at her real record, take a look at Syria, take a look at the migration, take a look at Libya, take a look at Iraq. She gave us ISIS because her and Obama created this huge vacuum. And a small group came out of that huge vacuum because we should have never been in Iraq, but once we were there, we should have never got out the way they wanted to get out. She gave us ISIS as sure as you are sitting there. And what happened is now ISIS is in 32 countries. And now I listen how she's going to get rid of ISIS. She's going to get rid of nobody.
All right, we are going to get to foreign hotspots in a few moments, but the next segment is fitness to be president of the United States. Mr. Trump, at the last debate, you said your talk about grabbing women was just that, talk, and that you'd never actually done it. And since then, as we all know, 9 women have come forward and said that you either groped them or kissed them without their consent. Why would so many different women from so many different circumstances over so many different years, why would they all in this last couple of weeks make up, you deny this, why would they all make up these stories? And since this is a question for both of you, Secretary Clinton, Mr. Trump says what your husband did and that you defended was even worse. Mr. Trump, you go first.
Well, first of all, those stories have been largely debunked. Those people, I don't know those people. I have a feeling how they came. I believe it was her campaign that did it. Just like if you look at what came out today on the clips, where I was wondering what happened with my rally in Chicago and other rallies where we had such violence. She's the one in Obama that caused the violence. They hired people, they paid them $1,500, and they're on tape saying, be violent, cause fights, do bad things. I would say the only way, because those stories are all totally false, I have to say that. And I didn't even apologize to my wife, who's sitting right here, because I didn't do anything. I didn't know any of these women. I didn't see these women. These women, the woman on the plane, the woman, I think they want either fame or her campaign did it. And I think it's her campaign. Because what I saw, what they did, which is a criminal act, by the way, where they're telling people to go out and start fistfights and start violence. And I'll tell you what, in particular in Chicago, people were hurt and people could have been killed in that riot. And that was now all on tape, started by her. I believe, Chris, that she got these people to step forward. If it wasn't, they get their 10 minutes of fame. But they were all totally, it was all fiction. It was lies and it was fiction.
Well, Secretary Clinton.
Okay, let's take a moment here to reflect upon the reveal that has happened where the DNC has been obviously starting riots, triggering riots at the Trump rallies. Very low-ball tactics from both parties over the years. I've tested the waters, and in 2014, 90% of my signs were stolen, running a third-party campaign or an alternative campaign. Either way, you get hosed by these people. They're so corrupt, they're clinging to power. Let me go ahead and refresh that and get back to you here. Yeah, this is pretty sad. Both the most corrupt people in the country pretending like they're answering questions for common people like us. Isn't that sad? It's so amazing how lies are turning into political directions for both parties. Sarah's here. Thank you, Sarah.
Hello, everyone.
So we're going to go ahead and get back to the show here. We're having a problem with the browser, so let's get back into it.
I think it's really up to all of us to demonstrate who we are and who our country is, and to stand up and be very clear about what we expect from our next president, how we want to bring our country together, where we don't want to have the kind of pitting of people one against the other, where instead we celebrate our diversity, we lift people up, and we make our country even greater. America is great because America is good. And it really is up to all of us to make that true now and in the future, and particularly for our children and our grandchildren.
Yeah, that's something that Sarah says.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
Oh my
Nobody
God.
has more respect.
Please, everybody.
And
what a lie.
Frankly,
what a
those
lie.
stories
Look
have
at
been
this
largely
liar.
debunked. And I really want to just talk about something slightly different.
Okay, I've got some broccoli
She mentions
cauliflower in the
this,
microwave.
which is all fiction, all fictionalized, probably or possibly started by her and her very sleazy campaign. But I will tell you, what isn't fictionalized are her emails, where she destroyed 33,000 emails criminally, after getting a subpoena from the United States Congress. What happened to the FBI? I don't know. We have a great general, 4-star general, today, you read it in all the papers, going to potentially serve 5 years in jail for lying to the FBI. One lie. She's lied hundreds of times to the people, to Congress, and to the FBI. He's going to probably go to jail. This is a 4-star general. And she gets away with it, and she can run for the presidency of the United States. That's really what you should be talking about, not fiction, where somebody wants fame or where they come out of her crooked campaign.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, every time Donald is pushed on something which is obviously
I'm going to give him 2 lies. On
uncomfortable, like what these women are saying, he immediately goes to denying responsibility. And it's not just about women. He never apologizes or says he's sorry for anything. So we know what he has said and what he's done to women. But he also went after a disabled reporter, mocked and mimicked him on national television.
He did.
He went after Mr. and Mrs. Khan, the parents of a young man who died serving our country, a Gold Star family because of their religion.
Mm-hmm.
He went after John McCain, a prisoner of war, said he prefers people who aren't captured. He went after a federal judge, born in Indiana, but who Donald said couldn't be trusted to try the fraud and racketeering case against Trump University because his parents were Mexican. So it's not one thing, this is a pattern. a pattern of divisiveness, of a very dark and in many ways dangerous vision of our country, where he incites violence, where he applauds people who are pushing and pulling and punching at his rallies. That is not who America is. And I hope that as we move in the last weeks of this campaign, more and more people will understand what's at stake in this election. It really does come down to what kind of country we are going to have.
So sad when she talks about violence at my rallies, and she caused the violence.
Yeah, that is sad. I agree.
The other things are false.
I agree.
But honestly, I'd love to talk about getting rid of ISIS, and I'd love to talk about other things.
Okay.
But those other charges, as she knows, are false.
In this bucket about fitness to be president, there's been a lot of developments over the last 10 days since the last debate. I'd like to ask you about them. These are questions that the American people have. Secretary Clinton, during your 2009 Senate confirmation hearing, you promised to avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest with your dealing with the Clinton Foundation while you were Secretary of State. But emails show that donors got special access to you. Those seeking grants for Haiti relief were considered separately from non-donors, and some of those donors got government contracts, taxpayer money. Can you really say that you kept your pledge to that Senate committee, and why isn't what happened and what went on between you and the Clinton Foundation, why isn't it what Mr. Trump calls pay to play?
Well, everything I did as Secretary of State was in furtherance of our country's interests and our values. The State Department has said that. I think that's been proven. But I am happy. In fact, I am thrilled to talk about the Clinton Foundation because it is a world-renowned charity, and I am so proud of the work that it does.
God.
You know, I could talk for the rest of the debate. I know I don't have the time to do that. But just briefly, the Clinton Foundation made it possible for 11 million people around the world with HIV/AIDS to afford treatment, and that's about half of all the people in the world who are getting treatment. In partnership with the American Health Association, we have made environments in schools healthier for kids, including healthier
Respectfully, this is an open discussion.
Well, it is an open discussion.
I understand, and the specific question went to pay for play. Do you want to talk about that?
But there is no evidence, but there is a lot of evidence about the very good work
and it's a
the
criminal
high
enterprise,
that
and
the
so many people know it. It's a criminal enterprise. Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture, because she takes a tremendous amount of money, and you take a look at the people of Haiti. I was in Little Haiti the other day in Florida, and I want to tell you, they hate the Clintons, because what's happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation is a disgrace. And you know it, and they know it, and everybody knows it.
Well, very quickly, we at the Clinton Foundation spend 90% of all the money that is donated on behalf of programs of people around the world and in our own country. I'm very proud of that. We have the highest rating from the watchdogs that follow foundations, and I'd be happy to compare what we do with the Trump Foundation, which took money from other people and bought a 6-foot portrait of Donald. I mean, who does that? It just was astonishing. But when it comes to Haiti, Haiti is the poorest country in our hemisphere. The earthquake and the hurricanes that has devastated Haiti. Bill and I have been involved in trying to help Haiti for many years. The Clinton Foundation raised $30 million to help Haiti after the catastrophic earthquake and all of the terrible problems the people there had. We've done things to help small businesses, agriculture, and so much else. And we're going to keep working to help Haiti because it's an important part of the American
They don't want you to help them anymore. I'd like to mention one thing. Trump Foundation, small foundation. People contribute, I contribute. The money goes 100% goes to different charities, including a lot of military. I don't get anything. I don't buy boats. I don't buy planes. What happens?
Wasn't some of the money used to settle your lawsuit, sir?
No, it was. We put up the American flag, and that's it. They put up the American flag. We fought for the right in Palm Beach to put up the American.
There was a penalty that was imposed by Palm Beach County, and the money came from your foundation.
And by the way, the money
yourself,
went to Fisher House, where they build houses. The money that you're talking about went to Fisher House, where they build houses for veterans and disabled.
I want to get into one
last... But of course, there's no way we can know whether any of that is true because he hasn't released his tax returns. He is the first candidate ever to run for president in the last 40-plus years who has not released his tax returns. So everything he says about charity or anything else, we can't prove it. You can look at our tax returns. We've got them all out there. But what is really troubling is that we learned in the last debate he has not paid a penny in federal income tax. And we were talking about immigrants a few minutes ago, Chris. You know, half of all immigrants, undocumented immigrants in our country, actually pay federal income tax. So we have undocumented immigrants in America who are paying more federal income tax than a billionaire. I find that just astonishing.
Yeah. We're entitled, because of the laws that people like her pass, to take massive amounts of depreciation and other charges, and we do it. And all of her donors, just about all of them, I know Buffett took hundreds of millions of dollars, George Soros, took hundreds of millions of dollars. Let me just explain. All of her donors, most of her donors have done the same thing as I did.
Okay.
And you know what you should have done?
Folks, we heard
and
this.
You know, Hillary, what you should have done? You should have changed the law when you were a United States Senator. If
folks,
you don't like
we heard this.
Yeah.
Because your donors and your special interests are doing the same thing as I do, except even more so.
Well,
you should have changed the law, but you won't change the law because you're taking so much money. I mean, I sat in my apartment today on a very beautiful hotel down the street, known as
Made with Chinese steel.
But I will tell you, I sat there watching ad after ad after ad, false ad, all paid for by your friends on Wall Street that gave so much money because they know you're going to protect them. And frankly, you should have changed the laws. If you don't like what I did, you should have changed the laws.
Mr. Trump, I want to ask you about one last question in this topic. You have been warning at rallies recently that this election is rigged and that Hillary Clinton is in the process of trying to steal it from you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your running mate, Governor Pence, pledged on Sunday that he and you, his words, will absolutely accept the result of this election. Today, your daughter Ivanka said the same thing. I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time. What I've seen is so bad. First of all, the media is so dishonest and so corrupt, and the pile-on is so amazing. The New York Times actually wrote an article about it that they don't even care. It's so dishonest, and they've poisoned the minds of the voters. But unfortunately for them, I think the voters are seeing through it. I think they're going to see through it. We'll find out on November 8th, but I think they're going to see through it.
We see through
If you look, excuse me, if you look at your voter rolls, you will see
they're both bad.
Millions of people that are registered to vote. Millions. This isn't coming from me. This is coming from Pew Report and other places. Millions of people that are registered to vote that shouldn't be registered to vote. So let me just give you one other thing. So I talk about the corrupt media. I talk about the millions of people. Tell you one other thing.
Millions?
She shouldn't be allowed to run. She's guilty of a very, very serious crime. She should not be allowed to run. And just in that respect, I say it's rigged. Because she should never have been allowed to run for the presidency based on what she did with emails and so many other things.
But, sir, there is a tradition in this country. In fact, one of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power, and that no matter how hard fought a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner. Not saying that you're necessarily going to be the loser or the winner, but that the loser concedes to the winner and that the country comes together in part for the good of the country. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him. The FBI conducted a year-long investigation into my emails. They concluded there was no case. He said the FBI was rigged. He lost the Iowa caucus. He lost the Wisconsin primary. He said the Republican primary was rigged against him. Then Trump University gets sued for fraud and racketeering. He claims the court system and the federal judge is rigged against him. There was even a time when he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged.
Should have got that.
This is a mindset. This is how Donald thinks. And it's funny, but it's also really troubling.
Okay.
So that is not the way our democracy works. We've been around for 240 years.
Oh, you call this
We've
democracy?
had free and fair elections.
What a lie.
We've accepted the outcomes when we may not have liked
BS.
them.
You
and
are a
that
lying
is what must
bitch.
be expected of anyone standing on
This is
a
no
debate
democracy.
stage
This is a
during
crock
a
of
general
crap.
election. You know, President Obama said the other day, when you're whining before the game is even finished, it just shows you're not up to doing the job. And let's be clear about what he is saying.
You're
and
filled
what that
with corruption,
means.
lady.
He is denigrating. He's talking
You
down
are an
our
outright
democracy.
liar, and your husband
for
and you
one,
ought to be
am
prosecuted.
appalled that somebody who is the nominee of one of our two major parties would take that kind of position.
I think what the FBI did and what the Department of Justice did, including meeting with her husband, the Attorney General, in the back of an airplane on the tarmac in Arizona, I think it's disgraceful. I think it's a disgrace.
All right.
I think we've never had a situation so bad.
Hold on, folks. This doesn't do any good for anyone. Let's please continue the debate, and let's move on to the subject of foreign hotspots. The Iraqi offensive to take back Mosul has begun. If they are successful in pushing ISIS out of that city and out of all of Iraq, the question then becomes, what happens the day after? And that's something that whoever of you ends up as president is going to have to confront. Will you put U.S. troops into that vacuum to make sure that ISIS doesn't come back or isn't replaced by something even worse?
No.
Secretary Clinton, you go first in this
I
segment.
don't buy the ISIS lie. It's fake.
Well, I am encouraged that there is an effort led by the Iraqi army, supported by Kurdish forces, and also given the help and advice from the number of special forces and other Americans on the ground. But I will not support putting American soldiers into Iraq as an occupying force. I don't think that is in our interest, and I don't think that would be smart to do. In fact, Chris, I think that would be a big red flag waving for ISIS to reconstitute itself. The goal here is to take back Mosul. It's going to be a hard fight. I've got no illusions about that, and then continue to press into Syria to begin to take back and move on Raqqa, which is the ISIS headquarters. I am hopeful that the hard work that American military advisors have done will pay off, and that we will see a really successful military operation. But we know we've got lots of work to do. Syria will remain a hotbed of terrorism as long as the civil war, aided and abetted by the Iranians and the Russians, continue. So I have said, look, we need to keep our eye on ISIS. That's why I want to have an intelligence surge that protects us here at home, why we have to go after them from the air, on the ground, online, why we have to make sure here at home we don't let terrorists buy weapons. If you're too dangerous to fly, you're too dangerous to buy a gun. And I'm going to continue to push for a no-fly zone and safe havens within Syria, not only to help protect the Syrians and prevent the constant outflow of refugees, but to frankly gain some leverage on both the Syrian government and the Russians, so that perhaps we can have the kind of serious negotiation necessary to bring the conflict to an end and go forward on a political track.
Mr. Trump, same question. If we are able to push ISIS out of Mosul and out of Iraq, would you be willing to put U.S. troops in there to prevent their return or something else?
Let me tell you, Mosul's so sad. We had Mosul. But when she left, when she took everybody out, we lost Mosul. Now we're fighting again to get Mosul. The problem with Mosul and what they wanted to do is they wanted to get the leaders of ISIS who they felt were in Mosul. About 3 months ago, I started reading that they want to get the leaders. and they're going to attack Mosul. Whatever happened to the element of surprise? Okay? We announced we're going after Mosul. I've been reading about going after Mosul now for about, how long is it, Hillary? 3 months? These people have all left. They've all left. The element of surprise. Douglas, MacArthur, George Patton spinning in their graves when they see the stupidity of our country. So we're now fighting for Mosul that we had. All she had to do is stay there. Now we're going in to get it. But you know who the big winner in Mosul is going to be after we eventually get it? And the only reason they did it is because she's running for the office of president. And they want to look tough. They want to look good. He violated the red line in the sand. And he made so many mistakes, made all mistakes. That's why we have the Great Migration. But she wanted to look good for the election. So they're going in. But who's going to get Mosul, really? We'll take Mosul eventually. By the way, if you look at what's happening, much tougher than they thought. Much, much tougher, much more dangerous, going to be more deaths than they thought. But the leaders that we wanted to get are all gone because they're smart. They said, what do we need this for? So Mosul is going to be a wonderful thing, and Iran should write us a letter of thank you, just like the really stupid, the stupidest deal of all time. A deal that's going to give Iran absolutely nuclear weapons. Iran should write us yet another letter saying thank you very much. Because Iran, as I said many years ago, Iran is taking over Iraq, something they've wanted to do forever, but we've made it so easy for them. So we're now going to take Mosul, and you know who's going to be the beneficiary? Iran. Boy, are they making, I mean, they are outsmarting. Look, you're not there. You might be involved in that decision, but you were there when you took everybody out of Mosul and out of Iraq. You shouldn't have been in Iraq, but you did vote for it. You shouldn't have been in Iraq, but once you were in Iraq, you should have never left the way. The point is, the big winner is going to be Iran.
Well, you know, once again, Donald is implying that he didn't support the invasion of Iraq. I said it was a mistake. I've said that years ago. He has consistently denied what is a very clear fact, that before the invasion, he supported it. And, you know, I just want everybody to go Google it. Google Donald Trump Iraq, and you will see the dozens of sources which verify that he was for the invasion of Iraq. And you can actually hear the audio of him saying that. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because he has not told the truth about that position. I guess he believes it makes him look better now, to contrast with me, because I did vote for it. But what's really important here is to understand all the interplay. Mosul is a Sunni city. Mosul is on the border of Syria. And yes, we do need to go after Baghdadi, and just like we went after bin Laden while you were doing Celebrity Apprentice, and we brought him to justice. We need to go after the leadership, but we need to get rid of them, get rid of their fighters. They're estimated several thousand fighters in Mosul. They've been digging underground. They've been prepared to defend. It's going to be tough fighting, but I think we can take back Mosul, and then we can move on into Syria and take back Raqqa. This is what we have to do. I'm just amazed that he seems to think that the Iraqi government and our allies and everybody else launched the attack on Mosul to help me in this election. But that's how Donald thinks, you know. He always is looking for some
Because we don't gain anything.
He has all the
Iran is taking over Iraq.
Secretary Clinton.
Iran is taking over Iraq. We don't gain
Secretary Clinton.
We would gain if they did it by surprise.
Wait. Secretary Clinton, it's an open discussion.
He says
we would have gained if they did it by surprise.
Secretary, please let Mr. Trump speak.
He's unfit, and he proves it every time
You
he
are
talks.
the one that's unfit. You know, WikiLeaks just actually came out. John Podesta said some horrible things about you, and boy, was he right. He said some beauties. And you know, Bernie Sanders, he said you have bad judgment. You do. And if you think that going into Mosul, after we let the world know we're going in, and all of the people that we really wanted, the leaders, they're all gone. If you think that was good, then you do. Now, John Podesta said you have terrible instincts. Bernie Sanders said you have bad judgment. I agree with both.
Well, you should ask Bernie Sanders who he's supporting for president, and he has said,
Which is
as
a
he
big
has
mistake.
campaigned for me around the country, you are the most dangerous person to run for president in the modern history of America. I think he's right.
Let's turn to Aleppo. Mr. Trump, in the last debate, you were both asked about the situation in the Syrian city of Aleppo. And I want to follow up on that because you said several things in that debate which were not true, sir. You said that Aleppo has basically fallen. In fact, there are.
It's a catastrophe.
It is a catastrophe, but there are a quarter.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
Sir,
have you seen what's happened to Aleppo?
If I might finish my question.
Okay, so it hasn't fallen. Take a look at it.
Well, there are 250,000 people still living there and being slaughtered.
That's right.
You also
and they are being slaughtered
yes,
because of bad decisions.
If I may just finish here. And you also said that that Syria and Russia are busy fighting ISIS. In fact, they have been the ones who've been bombing and shelling eastern Aleppo, and they just announced a humanitarian pause, in effect admitting that they have been bombing and shelling Aleppo. Would you like to clear that up, sir?
Well, Aleppo is a disaster. It's a humanitarian nightmare, but it has fallen from any standpoint. I mean, what do you need, a signed document? Take a look at Aleppo. It is so sad when you see what's happened. And a lot of this is because of Hillary Clinton, because what's happened is by fighting Assad, who turned out to be a lot tougher than she thought, and now she's going to say, oh, he loves Assad. He's just much tougher and much smarter than her and Obama. And everyone thought he was gone 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He aligned with Russia. He now also aligned with Iran, who we made very powerful. We gave them $150 billion back. We give them $1.7 billion in cash. I mean, cash, bundles of cash as big as this stage. We gave them $1.7 billion. Now, they have aligned. He has aligned with Russia and with Iran. They don't want ISIS, but they have other things because we're backing rebels. We don't know who the rebels are. We're giving them lots of money, lots of everything. We don't know who the rebels are. And when and if, and it's not going to happen because you have Russia and you have Iran now, but if they ever did overthrow Assad, you might end up with as bad as Assad is, and he's a bad guy, but you may very well end up with worse than Assad. If she did nothing, we'd be in much better shape. And this is what's caused the Great Migration, where she's taken in tens of thousands of Syrian refugees who probably, in many cases, not probably, who are definitely, in many cases, ISIS aligned, and we now have them in our country, and wait till you see, this is going to be the great Trojan horse, and wait till you see what happens in the coming years. Lots of luck, Hillary. Thanks a lot for doing a great job.
Secretary Clinton, you have talked about, and in the last debate and again today, that you would impose a no-fly zone to try to protect the people of Aleppo and to stop the killing there. President Obama has refused to do that because he fears it's going to draw us closer or deeper into the conflict. And General Joseph Dunford, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says, you impose a no-fly zone, chances are you're going to get into a war, his words, with Syria and Russia. So the question I have is, if you impose a no-fly zone, first of all, how do you respond to their concerns? Secondly, if you impose a no-fly zone and a Russian plane violates that, does President Clinton shoot that plane down?
Well, Chris, first of all, I think a no-fly zone could save lives and could hasten the end of the conflict. I am well aware of the really legitimate concerns that you have expressed from both the president and the general. This would not be done just on the first day. This would take a lot of negotiation. It would also take making it clear to the Russians and the Syrians that our purpose here was to provide safe zones on the ground. We've had millions of people leave Syria, and those millions of people inside Syria who've been dislocated. So I think we could strike a deal and make it very clear to the Russians and the Syrians that this was something that we believed was in the best interests of the people on the ground in Syria. It would help us with our fight against ISIS. But I want to respond to what Donald said about refugees. He's made these claims repeatedly. I am not going to let anyone into this country who is not vetted, who we do not have confidence in, but I am not going to slam the door on women and children. That picture of that little 4-year-old boy in Aleppo with the blood coming down his face while he sat in an ambulance is haunting. And so we are going to do very careful, thorough vetting. That does not solve our internal challenges with ISIS and our need to stop radicalization, to work with American Muslim communities who are on the front lines to identify and prevent attacks. In fact, the killer of the dozens of people at the nightclub in Orlando, the Pulse nightclub, was born in Queens, the same place Donald was born. So let's be clear about what the threat is and how we are best going to be able to meet it. And yes, some of that threat emanates from over in Syria and Iraq, and we've got to keep fighting, and I will defeat ISIS. And some of it is we have to up our game and be much smarter here
Folks,
at home.
I want to get into our final segment.
But I just have to, it's
Real
so
quick.
ridiculous she will defeat ISIS. We should have never let ISIS happen in the first place. And right now they're in 32 countries.
Okay.
You should have never. Wait 1 second. They had a ceasefire 3 weeks ago. A ceasefire, United States, Russia, Syria. And during the ceasefire, Russia took over vast swatches of land. And then they said, we don't want the ceasefire anymore. We are so outplayed on missiles, on ceasefires. They are outplayed. Now, she wasn't there. I assume she had nothing to do with it. But our country is so outplayed by Putin and Assad and, by the way, and by Iran. Nobody can believe how stupid our leadership is.
Mr. Trump, Secretary Clinton, no, we need to move on to our final segment, and that is the national debt, which has not been discussed until tonight. Our national debt as a share of the economy, our GDP, is now 77%. That's the highest since just after World War II. But the nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says, Secretary Clinton, under your plan, debt would rise to 86% of GDP over the next 10 years. Mr. Trump, under your plan, they say it would rise to 105% of GDP over the next 10 years. Question is, why are both of you ignoring this problem? Mr. Trump, you go first.
Well, I say they're wrong because I'm going to create tremendous jobs. And we're bringing GDP from really 1%, which is what it is now. And if she got in, it'll be less than zero. But we're bringing it from 1% up to 4%. And I actually think we can go higher than 4%. I think you can go to 5 or 6%. And if we do, you don't have to bother asking your question because we have a tremendous machine. We will have created a tremendous economic machine once again. To do that, we're taking back jobs. We're not going to let our companies be raided by other countries where we lose all our jobs. We don't make our product anymore. It's very sad. But I'm going to create the kind of a country that we were from the standpoint of industry. We used to be there. We've given it up. We've become very, very sloppy. We've had people that are political hacks making the biggest deals in the world, bigger than companies. You take these big companies, these trade deals are far bigger than these companies. And yet we don't use our great leaders, many of whom back me and many of whom back Hillary, I must say. But we don't use those people. Those are the people, these are the greatest negotiators in the world. We have the greatest business people in the world. We have to use them to negotiate our trade deals. We use political hacks. We use people that get the position because they made a campaign contribution. And they're dealing with China and people that are very much smarter than they are. So we have to use our great people. But with that being said, we will create an economic machine, the likes of which we haven't seen in many decades. And people, Chris, will again go back to work and they'll make a lot of money and we'll have companies that will grow and expand and start from new.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, first, when I hear Donald talk like that and know that his slogan is "Make America Great Again," I wonder when he thought America was great. And before he rushes and says, you know, before you and President Obama were there, I think it's important to recognize that he has been criticizing our government for decades. You know, back in 1987, he took out a $100,000 ad in the New York Times during the time when President Reagan was president and basically said exactly what he just said now, that we were the laughing stock of the world. He was criticizing President Reagan. This is the way Donald thinks about himself, puts himself into, you know, the middle and says, you know, I alone can fix it, as he said on the convention stage. But if you look at the debt, which is the issue you asked about, Chris, I pay for everything I'm proposing. I do not add a penny to the national debt. I take that very seriously because I do think it's one of the issues we've got to come to grips with. So when I talk about how we're going to pay for education, how we're going to invest in infrastructure, how we're going to get the cost of prescription drugs down, and a lot of the other issues that people talk to me about all the time, I've made it very clear we are going where the money is. We are going to ask the wealthy and corporations to pay their fair share. And there is no evidence whatsoever that that will slow down or diminish our growth. In fact, I think just the opposite. We'll have what economists call middle-out growth. We've got to get back to rebuilding the middle class, the families of America. That's where growth will come from. That's why I want to invest in you. I want to invest in your family. And I think that's the smartest way to grow the economy, to make the economy fairer. And we just have a big disagreement about this. It may be because of our experiences. You know, he started off with his dad as a millionaire. I started off with my dad as a small businessman.
We've heard this before.
I think it's, you know, it's a difference that affects how we see the world and what we want to do with the economy.
Time.
Thank you, Hillary. Could I just respond?
Well, no.
Because
sir,
I did
we're running out of
disagree with
time.
Ronald Reagan very strongly on trade. I disagreed with him. We should have been much tougher on trade even then. I've been waiting for years. Nobody does it right. And frankly, now we're going to do it right.
All right. The one last area I want to get into with you in this debate is the fact that the biggest driver of our debt is entitlements, which is 60% of all federal spending. Now, the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget has looked at both of your plans, and they say neither of you has a serious plan that is going to solve the fact that Medicare is going to run out of money in the 2020s, Social Security is going to run out of money in the 2030s, and at that time, recipients are going to take huge cuts in their benefits. So, in effect, the final question I want to ask you in this regard is, and let me start with you, Mr. Trump, would President Trump make a deal to save Medicare and Social Security that included both tax increases and benefit cuts, in effect, a grand bargain on entitlements?
I'm cutting taxes. We're going to grow the economy. It's going to grow at a record rate.
But that's not going to help on entitlements.
It's going to totally help you. And one thing we have to do, repeal and replace the disaster known as Obamacare. It's destroying our country. It's destroying our businesses, our small business, and our big businesses. We have to repeal and replace Obamacare. You take a look at the kind of numbers that will cost us in the year 17. It is a disaster if we don't repeal and replace. Now, it's probably going to die of its own weight, but Obamacare has to go. The premiums are going up 60, 70, 80%. Next year, they're going to go up over 100%. And I'm really glad that the premiums have started. At least the people see what's happening, because she wants to keep Obamacare and she wants to make it even worse. And it can't get any worse. Bad health care at the most expensive price. We have to repeal and replace Obamacare.
And Secretary Clinton, same question, because at this point, Social Security and Medicare are going to run out. The trust funds are going to run out of money. Will you, as president, will you consider a grand bargain, a deal that includes both tax increases and benefit cuts to try to save both programs?
Well, Chris, I am on record as saying that we need to put more money into the Social Security Trust Fund. That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund by making sure that we have sufficient resources. And that will come from either raising the cap and or finding other ways to get more money into it. I will not cut benefits. I want to enhance benefits for low-income workers and for women who have been disadvantaged by the current Social Security system. But what Donald is proposing with these massive tax cuts will result in a $20 trillion additional national debt. That will have dire consequences for Social Security and Medicare. And I'll say something about the Affordable Care Act, which he wants to repeal. The Affordable Care Act extended the solvency of the Medicare Trust Fund. So if he repeals it, our Medicare problem gets worse. What we need to do is go after the long-term health care drivers. We've got to get costs down, increase value, emphasize wellness. I have a plan for doing that, and I think that we will be able to get entitlement spending under control with more resources and smarter decisions.
This is the final time, probably to both of your delight, that you're going to be on the stage together in this campaign. I would like to end it on a positive note. You had not agreed to closing statements, but it seems to me in a funny way that might make it more interesting because you haven't prepared closing statements. So I'd like you each to take it. We're going to put a clock up, a minute, as the final question in the final debate to tell the American people why they should elect you to be the next president. This is another new mini segment. Secretary Clinton, it's your turn to go first.
Well, I would like to say to everyone watching tonight that I'm reaching out to all Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, because we need everybody to help make our country what it should be, to grow the economy, to make it fairer, to make it work for everyone. We need your talents, your skills, your commitment, your energy, your ambition. You know, I've been privileged to see the presidency up close, and I know the awesome responsibility of protecting our country and the incredible opportunity of working to try to make life better for all of you. I have made the cause of children and families really my life's work. That's what my mission will be in the presidency. I will stand up for families against powerful interests, against corporations. I will do everything that I can to make sure that you have good jobs with rising incomes, that your kids have good educations from preschool through college. I hope you will give me a chance to serve as your president.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr. Trump?
She's raising the money from the people she wants to control. It doesn't work that way. But when I started this campaign, I started it very strongly. It's called Make America Great Again. We're going to make America great. We have a depleted military. It has to be helped, has to be fixed. We have the greatest people on earth in our military. We don't take care of our veterans. We take care of illegal immigrants, people that come into the country illegally, better than we take care of our vets. That can't happen. Our policemen and women are disrespected. We need law and order, but we need justice too. Our inner cities are a disaster. You get shot walking to the store. They have no education. They have no jobs. I will do more for African Americans and Latinos than she can ever do in 10 lifetimes. All she's done is talk to the African Americans and to the Latinos. But they get the vote, and then they come back. They say, we'll see you in 4 years. Yeah. We are going to make America strong again, and we are going to make America great again.
I don't think so, man.
It has to start now. We cannot take 4 more years of Barack Obama, and that's what you get when you get her.
You don't know nothing, white man. Oh, sorry.
Secretary Clinton, hold on just a moment, folks.
I don't
Secretary
think
Clinton,
so.
Mr. Trump, I want to thank you both for participating in all 3 of these debates. That brings to an end this year's debate sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. We want to thank the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and its students for having us. Now the decision is up to you. While millions have already voted, Election Day, November 8th, is just 20 days away. One thing everyone here can agree on, we hope you will go vote. It is one of the honors and obligations of living in this great country. Thank you, and good night.
Well, it was billed as the final debate, but there might have been 2 debates here tonight. There was the first 30 minutes that could almost be described as subdued. Then there was the next hour, not so subdued. This is Lester Holt along with Chuck Todd, Savannah Guthrie, Tom Brokaw.
I would like to take this time to
begin to discuss what just happened there, especially in the
I'd like to address the simple fact that he did not look out for African Americans, and Donald Trump is a known liar when it comes to helping the black man.
There was issue back and forth, so there was
and Hillary, I don't know, people are saying that maybe she helped the black man a little bit more.
In many ways, if you were a Republican running down the ballot, you were thrilled.
Well, I certainly will meet with the Black Caucus once a month. I told you that.
The stakes of why this is important for Republicans.
I'll even meet with Princess Leia.
Republican, you were relieved that Trump didn't have a bad first 30 minutes. He had a pretty good.
No, I don't really want to meet her because she says she does coke.
Hillary Clinton.
And she even said
had substance in
every
answer, had sort of detailed policy proposals that she would talk about. He would answer every question. 10% of the answer would sound good in the moment. I think it's going to not go over well with the fact checkers. It's not going to play well the next day because he would almost say a pretty good line and then repeat it over and over again.
and he didn't seem to have a lot of substance. So I think it might look good and feel good in the moment, and it may not survive for him over a few days.
And Savannah, one of the more memorable lines was that nasty woman that we heard near the end.
It was. I mean, she was in the middle of an answer. He interjected. He leans into the microphone and says twice, "Such a nasty woman, such a nasty woman." And I think that will be
that's not
a
good.
moment that people look back at this debate.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you don't like Hillary Clinton, if you were in Donald Trump's base, you were probably saying amen to the TV and cheering right then. But this is a candidate who has a deficit with women, who needs Republican moderate women to come over into his corner. And it was so striking to see him actually go there. It's not a substantive,
by the way, on the weird
critique
answer,
of her.
and on a weird question, I mean, of all questions due to do it, it was like on Social Security and Medicare. Like, what are you? It was a bizarre interjection.
There was another moment in this debate people will be talking about, and
we interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important announcement. The computer seems to have frozen. Hey, what's going on, man? We got a lot of people here who say that I am a bad hombre. I want you all to know that I am nothing compared to Scarface. Don't ever screw me, Tony. No, Mr. Sosa. No, I'd never do that to you, Mr. Sosa. Say hello to my little friend. So I'm feeling kind of raw and in the moment. I've got my backup camera here. You like my choice of wording? Isn't that nice? Yeah, we just encountered at least 90 lies, and I believe we've got 36 snorts to our record. And I want to congratulate Donald on dealing with his snorting problem. Don't be so racist, please. Thank you. Tone down the racism, thanks. It was a joke. It's a bunch of lies, Neil Walton says. Heavy duty, I don't think you're right about that. I think it's safe to say Hillary's a woman. Now, Michelle, on the other hand, yeah, I think we're talking about a dude looks like a lady. Yeah, I do. And you know, I reserved this look so that I would look even better for the debate. I wanted to kind of shock everybody into how great I look. Yeah. I noticed how great, being younger is, and I felt, Dave, just wear this wig I paid $19 for on eBay, and be yourself. You've got to be me. I've got to be me. Yeah, so just kind of feel that you are communicating with David. Hi, welcome to my three-dimensional video. It's the first technology we've ever explored in which you can actually watch me in your bathroom while you're taking a bath. Isn't it great? And you'll feel me. I'll reach out and kiss you. Mwah! Thank you, everybody, for voting for me, writing me in. Appreciate it. I'm not gay, despite popular belief. I don't know why people think I'm gay. It's weird. So I think the snort count is at 36 was a great accomplishment. Donald really held back from 103 prior, but he didn't have the 28 snort count he had in the first debate. The lie count went up as the debate went on for both of them, and you notice how we really didn't face individual lies, and we didn't have a face-off.
Yes.
Exactly. We're trying to be as non-biased and non-partisan as possible. Some people think I support Hillary. I don't. Some people think I support Trump. I don't.
Absolutely.
And I just want you to know that I'm not trying to in any way make an endorsement for you. You can decide for yourself. This is one of the most important elections of our time. We have a very huge amount of issues that were never discussed in these debates, like the Afghanistan war, which is about opium. Trump didn't even allude to that. He talked about the amount of heroin in our society, but he didn't say why, because Trump is on the take. He would do the same thing that Obama's doing, support the continued troop presence in Afghanistan, supporting the warlords, and not providing any solutions. And Trump is on record taking my idea, the safe zone idea. And now Hillary's on record talking about safe havens. You hear that? So they're all talking about a point that I've been making for over 8 years and have proof of that. Interesting. So I clearly am a visionary for American politics and the future of our foreign policy. And I think that leading the way has been more of a reflection period to look back and see how these ideas have been morphed into their ideas. And it's kind of a fun experience for me because I'm honored in a way. Yeah. Because I know I'm on the cutting edge of American politics. That's why they're censoring me. That's why I couldn't get into these debates, and I can't even get mentioned in the mainstream media. That's why everybody around the world is talking about the censorship that's going on in America and how it's affected the American people. So, Trump should be ashamed of himself. Absolutely. Excuse me, that's a censored comment. So keep adding to the censor count, though. I like the fact that you keep doing it. That's funny. It is, not in this day and age. We don't have a democracy. If we had a democracy, we would have more than 2 parties. We would have 4 or 5 or 6 parties. I mean, common sense tells you that. If you don't get that, that's the simplest thing of all. That's why we created America's Third Party. It could have been America's fourth party, 5th party, 6th. It doesn't even matter. But the fact we only have 2 parties, that is the proof that this is not a democracy. I will only know how many votes are coming in for me when we reach 25,000 in any one state. They tell people every time we've asked that we won't give you the information unless you've had 25,000 votes. They all tell us that. We've asked for the write-in vote count, and they usually just set them aside until the stack gets really big. And then they start reading who the write-in votes are. So if the write-in votes if the stack is really big, they'll read the write-in votes, and we'll know if we have a competitive vote. Like in Rhode Island, if we get 450,000 write-in votes, we could take the state. We are the third party, and we've been on track since the beginning. You're looking at a censored nation that's kept us down. The only reason why this show is up and running is because I have an indomitable spirit to keep it going, and nothing can stop me. So much so that we actually have a theme song that we play every night to keep our spirits up, to make us realize that the censorship is the reason why we're being shunned. I am so marketable that this could be a national win for us right now if they had only let us get out of the box they stuck us in. By censoring the American people, they are creating a backlash greater than they've ever seen. We will spread the word through word of mouth, and we are building the word of mouth backbone of the word of mouth advertising network.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance on.
All right, everybody. So this is the real democracy right in front of us, where we talk about getting you guys cash. We don't BS about what ISIS is doing like Donald and Hillary. And we're not corrupt. The best part about this is we're not bought.
So let's be clear. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
For president.
Wow. They just pulled hyper-normalization down. Look at that. The movie we were watching last night has been knocked off the internet. Look at the censorship right in front of your eyes. They're censoring us right in front of our eyes, everybody.
In this coming election, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
All right, thank you. That was fun. So we are building a third party. Don't fool yourself, folks. Nobody can stop this word-of-mouth campaign. We are creating a phenomenon of communication using the internet while the corporate-led government of ours, the two-party system, is trying to take it away. So your effort to get me on the ballot or write me in is not forgotten. We are building something for 2020 and 2016. And this country is going to have to respond to the American people, because the American people are not getting answers from these two-party puppets that steal my ideas. Can you imagine? Yeah. The last thing we want is a robotic future run by corporate-controlled robocops. And that is precisely what they have created for us. Their plan is to eventually destroy the human race. We must stop them. We must, as people, challenge the cybernetic future of mankind and stop this attempt by the elitists to control our destiny. So build this third party, everybody. Sir, you are a joke, and you're going to be laughing all the way into the toilet bowl. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to what America's always wanted. A real, individualized, personal political movement. No, you're the hypocrite. Wow, that's too bad. I'm the beginning of the future of politics. You're listening to the most interactive virtual chat show on Earth, America's Third Party. And this will be a home for everybody, even people from other countries. We will have the largest, most powerful political chat show on Earth when I'm President of the United States. It's going to be a White House phenomenon. Okay. Hey, we've got a very fun show. You know, one of the reasons why I've been so successful, and I count my success by how many people watch me, and it's huge. The numbers are growing. We have millions of people watching us in UHF channels around the world, and they're tuning in because Donald doesn't cut it for them. They see the deception. They see the kind of person he is, where he says one thing and does another. And with Hillary, a lot of people don't like her because of the same reason. Now, I'm surprised that Donald did not bring up the Hillary death count or the body count. And if he was going to call this election a fraud, which it is, he should have at least brought up some serious issues like prosecuting Obama. He doesn't even do that. He's wanting to side with the idea that Obama is still born in the United States. He won't even say that, but he believes it. And I am truly the person who's going to make sure. Yeah, I agree, Jackson. It was a joke. I'm going to make sure I prosecute Barack Obama on fraud charges. And when we do that, guess what? You don't pay a high healthcare cost anymore. We roll the prices of healthcare insurance back to the 2008 costs. And every health insurance company out there that's been scrambling for 4 years with Obamacare will stop scrambling, because they're going to be looking at a whole new way of doing business, where we actually pay for what we deserve to pay for, not some trumped up charge at a hospital. Which, by the way, Donald Trump and Hillary both support a universal health care plan. And it's going to be a disaster, just like Obamacare. Because the average American cannot pay for the freebies that are going out right now at a high cost to every doctor that collects Medicaid and Medicare funds. It just can't happen. No, I've been an unbelievable force in American politics and growing every day. If you think this is a joke, you have no idea how hard I've worked. And you got no idea how the dedication that's gone into this show. You don't even comprehend the maneuver that I'm making worldwide by doing a show like this. You're that dense, you don't understand that the American people are dying for honesty and truth in government. And they're dying for people that'll respond to their real issues. Why they're being dumped on with fluoride in their water system. Why they're getting GMOs in their diet. Did you hear any about that tonight? No. People are dying of tumors because they're feeding tumor-producing food to the American people. And if you don't understand the dangers of that, then you really don't understand that the chemtrails that they're dumping on you are virtually making you a bunch of numbskulls. You might as well be sheep going, bah, Clinton, Trump. Seriously. All right. Look, you may think my ego's huge. Whatever. I am calm, thank you. I want you to know that if you think that a worm would go to the presidency and sit there and go, "Hi everybody, I'm David John Sponheim and I want to be president. I just want everyone to like me." I mean, you got a person here who is devoid of what your impression is of me. I have completely separated from that concept. I speak from my heart. I don't filter anything I say. You're getting raw authenticity with me. You're not getting some comments written on a board for Hillary to read off of, which she did, by the way, throughout the entire debate, read most of the words that she spoke. And she was extremely well rehearsed. I will definitely say that about Hillary. My esteem is incredible. I wouldn't even be running for president if I didn't believe I could do this. You got to understand, this is not fake confidence. I have true confidence that I can solve America's problems. If you think for a second I'm making this up or this is a joke, then you've missed the whole point. My ideas have been stolen by Donald and Hillary in this election. Tell me that isn't weird. I mean, how would you like to have ideas you had 8 years ago being said by Donald 2 years ago? Or Hillary this year about the solar rooftop plan she's got, or the safe havens for people in Syria? I mean, this is ridiculous. I am showing you the future of a very austere economy where people do eat $2 meals. Why do you think I do a show every Thursday where tomorrow night we're going to do Twisted Shrimpster as my dinner? I've got Twisted Shrimpster as the primary dish. It'll be an amazing fusion of fettuccine, like an Alfredo bow tie pasta shrimp fusion dish. All for only $2. So we're trying to make you very, very comfortable with your asset or your income. If you are overspending on a daily basis, you are going to probably lose your asset, meaning your income. And I'm trying to help you all save on your budget. I don't have a problem with the pride issue that I've been living on a very tight shoestring for a long time. I don't have a problem with that. I'm proud of that fact, actually. Because I'm teaching everyone, even people around the world, who are trying to find a common sustainable lifestyle that will match their budget. Do you think I want everybody to become hardworking Americans who are constantly busting their ass and getting hemorrhoids doing their job? Do you think for a second I want you to be walking around with a butt hurt because you've been on your feet all day and all week working for the man so that you can come home and barely have any time with your kids? Do you think I want that life for the American people? No. I'm not like Hillary and Donald. I want you to have a 4-day work week. Not mandatory, but government operations will be 4-day work weeks because we're not going to give people more money in the government. We're going to cut their salaries. And if they don't like it, they can leave because they haven't done a very good job with their job. A loose cannon. I make Trump look like a choir boy. I am a nuclear candidate. I'm a person who absolutely can go astronomical in terms of viewership if they would let me. It's a very powerful tool that I have. You know, I don't mute that statement. No. That's not, see, you're saying be sure to agree with David. He mutes the simple disagreements. Am I muting that statement? You're softening your rhetoric. I'm teaching people in huts in Ghana how to eat cheaply. Yes. Coming up in 2016, we'll be doing a Donald Trump impersonation called Donald Rump, October 31st. I don't know if I'm going to do one of those open butt pants with the fake buttock. I'm looking for those right now at the Halloween store. I thought that would be absolutely hilarious if I did a little dance with the buttocks hanging out. But I don't know if that's really appropriate. Okay, yeah. Well, at least we had some time here to reflect on how corrupt the two parties are. Some people couldn't even handle the show. They were getting vomitous. Trump is basically a copy of me. I'm sorry to say. But I'm not a person who hates Muslims. I'm not a person who would in any way turn my back on people that are obviously trying to survive in this economy. So when I say $400 per month per U.S. adult, yes, there are some people who are Muslim who will get this because they're U.S. adult citizens. I'm okay with that. There are some people who are not U.S. adult citizens and they'll be put off and they won't have any money. They'll be pissed off and they'll wonder where they can find a job because we will prosecute anyone who hires illegal aliens. No, seriously, Donald copied 10 of my ideas. Now he's up to like 14 or 15 on my ideas. The recent call for term limits was a last-ditch effort to pull the Republican Party together. Donald has failed in so many ways. He's not a classic image of virtue like I am. I have never done anything wrong in my entire life. I don't grope women. I've never groped women. I don't speak ill of women. I don't run around bragging about all the women I did. Yeah. So you're looking at a person with an absolutely impeccable background, with no criminal record, no history of bankruptcies, no greed-monging like Hillary and Donald, and you're wondering why they're censoring me? Because I am the real deal. That's why. Have I spit on a sidewalk? Where did you see me spit on a sidewalk? Are you watching me? Okay. So, as you can see, we don't have a lot of real intelligent thought at various times in our show. So we go through this dead zone where average people just go, and then they talk and chat. So it's not a big deal to just sit there and say whatever comes to your mind. It was 1999, Mad Dog. Let me get you the link to it. I can't get over hypernormalization was pulled off YouTube. This movie, we were watching it last night. Granted, it was a little boring, but it was controversial. And I have to look this up again. Let me see where it is. It's probably popped up again on some other alternate server. Hey, have you heard about the WikiLeaks dump that went down? Well, they put together a backup file in case all of you were looking for more information on the corruption in the Democratic and National Party and the Republicans. Yeah, check it out. It's a backup file that WikiLeaks created of all of their files. And it's an index. And it is this is their insurance policy that none of this will disappear. WikiLeaks, yeah. Oh, come on. You've got to realize I'm not on Vaughn Live. That's just one of the networks I'm on. It's not like a big deal. I chat here. I have over 1 million viewers worldwide who watch our show, who can't even come in and chat because of the censorship going on in this show. You love the wig? Cool. I'll wear it more often. We don't care if Glenn Beck is running for president. Doesn't matter. I'm asking people to write me in this election. It's either your choice to step out of the box or just fall in line like a good sheeple. I mean, if you're voting for Trump, you're voting for the New World Order and the Russian mob link on the right. If you're voting for Hillary, you're voting for the New World Order and the City of London and the royalty from the Rothschilds. There's so many different factors involved here, it's not even funny. Now, protesters have removed their clothes at a Trump rally just before they flood the streets and destroy property. Now, this is alleged, and there is some slight nudity here. But, yeah. Let's see what this is. Well, I know what we're going to be queued up watching tonight at 9:30. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? Vega Cowgirls for Donald. Okay. No, they're actually going against Donald Trump. They were saying dump Donald Trump. Yeah. Yeah, I wish you were at that rally too. But you're here in front of me, chatting. Yeah, well, apparently somebody's going to get some notice when they take their breasts and they put tape over their nipples. I don't have smoker's teeth. No, I'm wearing press-on veneers to give hope to people who don't have bright, shiny white teeth. It's not a Trump wig. This is my Surfer Dave look. Yeah. Let's look at her wigs on eBay. I'll find it for you. It won't take me long. It's a great wig, Mad Dog. You might like it. Yeah, wigs. Men's. You like your tea-stained teeth? Yeah, who cares? Why are people so incredibly transparent? Okay, here we go. Men's court wig, Colonial, $18.99. This would look good on you, Mad Dog. Seriously. No, I did not. I fixed that broken tooth. Well, let's be clear. No, I'm not in any way related to Barack Obama. I'm not bisexual, and I'm not involved with a transgender. And I'm not a Muslim. You rock. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can get that. I did not spend more than $19.99 for my hair. All right? This is another one I'm looking at getting. This one. I think I'd look good in this haircut. Yeah. Yeah, I think it would look good. Yeah, for sure. We've got another one, a smaller Asian one. This is an interesting one. What about this one? Yeah. You like? That looks pretty natural. Here it is. That looks better than this one. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to get that one. 2 are watching. Excellent. So do you think that one would look good to me? On me? Go ahead. I think this is even better than the one I have. What do you think? Yeah. Check it out. I'm on a site. You wouldn't know where it is. It's rare. Let me spell it out for you. It's eBay. E as in Everett, B as in boy, A as in asshole, and Y as in why are you here? Yeah, eBay. Look it up. Do you want me to give you the link? I want to get this thing. That looks really good, yeah. You think it looks better than the one I have? I think it's better. I think it's an improvement. What do you think? Improvement, yes? Yes? No. No? Yes? Yes, no. Yes, I should bid on it. No. Yes? Well, of course, asshole is not a censored word. It's part of your human anatomy. You look like an Amish man. Yes, yeah. I'm kind of a hybrid Amish.
You need a break?
Oh, you want to come in? Yeah, I think if people want to get to know who you are.
I don't really.
Well, they want
to.
Well, you want to know who you are. You're not anyone. You're somebody.
I'm just David's support.
She's David's support. Yeah, that's her identity. Oh, come on. This is a real campaign. I'm growing faster than you can even keep up with. You can't even shut me down faster than I'm popping up. So what do you think for me?
Sure.
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having my second childhood. Why is she wearing a jacket? Because I don't heat the house, that's why. I do zone heating. We do 1 bedroom at a time.
I like wearing coats.
Oh, geez. I can't believe people are coming in this show with such negativity.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Yes, I'm going to go freshen up. I'll be back. I'll get out. I'll get back as soon as I can get back. I'm sorry.
Get up and sit down.
Don't lose that wig, as I really am looking at buying that one.
Okay, that's fine.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I haven't seen one like that.
Yeah. All right. Oh, really? That would be violating. That would be a felony, I would say. 229. All right. Everyone's saying everything's all rigged. Just go with the flow. No. All right. I'm not cold. I'm quite warm, in fact. All right. I can answer it. Thanks, Lils. If I had a $20 million tomorrow, instantly, here's what I would spend it on. I would hire a doctor, not necessarily for myself, but for everyone in my community. So I would start my own mobile medical units, and the doctor, so I would start, that's what I would do. I would hire a doctor and pay their, I would make sure that the doctor had if I had to pay for it, malpractice insurance. But I would hire a doctor to take care of everyone in my neighborhood, including homeless people in my neighborhood. How do you guys make money for food, Wi-Fi, loans, wigs, etc.? A little bit every day. Oh, I think Vaughn Live will be a pay service eventually, and I'll have to find a new platform? Eventually I would. And with that, if I did have to find a new platform, then I would also learn, I would use the money to either build or learn to build a video chat platform of my own. That's what I would also spend the $20 million on. I know. When Americans elect David Sponheim, do you think Trump and Hillary will respect the results? I would hope so. Thank you. All right. I appreciate all of you. I just have to, so many people, so many things that they say. Yes, exactly. I agree with you, Mr. Banker, that he probably would say, it's rigged for Sponheim. All right, now, of course, I have to see where else is David casting. Now, maybe I should see the chats where else David's casting. Irish Spring. That's cute. Heavy duty. You feel mysteriously sleepy. I do too. But I can't afford to be sleepy. Run away from the madness. Where do you want to run to? I want to run to you. 2000Minds.com is a free platform with the best qualities of any social media website for your information. Minds.com. All right, let's look it up. Hello, Heavy Duty's wife. How are you? You watch the show together? When you enjoy things together, it's so great. You're there as, what is it? Minds.com? Is that what it is? And you're there as Fiction Fighter? What is that going to do to my computer? Oh no! My social network. Launch a channel today. Ooh, cool. Viral reach, be heard, boost your content. privacy, be anonymous if you wish, transparency, earn money, peer-to-peer advertising. Cool, I will leave it open. Thank you. I have an appointment to see my dentist pretty soon. I almost thought so, but 971. How did you get a cool? Is it you're not the owner of Minds.com? Whoever got that, I like the name Minds.com. It's awesome. Is it, you have video and everything on there? Or is there video? Free money, click this link. Totally legit. Just give us your social security card and everything. Yeah, I know what you mean, 920. I agree with that. True that. Free money, click this link. Totally. I agree with hello Walter. Hello Katrina. Hello. I know the thing is, I know David doesn't always respond to the chat over there. So. Make an account, look you up, add all your contacts. You have the owners in your list. It's not a scam or anything. And yes, you have video on there. So you could do a video show like you do, like I do here. I could do a video show, I mean. It's just an alternative because I'm always looking for things like that. Okay, very cool. I'll tell David about it. And I always like minds because I'm a cerebral. No, it's like mind. To have an open mind at minds.com. All right, and maybe so, 971. Really great people. Nice. When do David and I have a date night? Sunday is our date day because that's why we're not here. In your opinion, I think David's cool. I probably do 357, but I don't have time for that. I mean, David's always here, so you know what I mean? Since he's here, that's it. Okay. In your opinion, David has a great sense of humor, and I'm pretty cool. I don't have David's sense of humor, though, but I think that you're right. For many people, I met this person that's like, David, you're the funniest person alive. And I feel odd, not bad, but just odd that I don't have David's sense of humor. From MsNaturalBeauty.com, scissor fight, I would probably be rolling around laughing as well. I'm the star of the show. Cute. Well, 920, I don't let anyone brainwash me. I make up my own decisions and make my own mind up. That's true, 998. I mean, David's sister, I have noticed, does have his sense of humor. And I'm like, oh. And I definitely have my dad's sense of humor. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Ansano. All camp. Sarah accepts the things she wants, yes. I started watching it, but then I was doing something when I was watching it, so I wasn't like focused on the show, Oma. So I decided that it wasn't really good, and so then I played some music from Pandora and did the thing that I was doing. Rather, you know how sometimes like you can watch a show as like background noise, and you can kind of still get the gist of the show? Lie to Me is not one of those shows. I think that Lie to Me is like one of those shows where you should be watching it and get absorbed into it. Kind of like for me, Walking Dead is one of those shows. So it's like you have to focus. Yeah, exactly. And I just don't have the time to focus right now on it. None of your relatives have your sense of humor? You don't think it's genetic? Wow. Oh, David would have won, but because you think I'm an atheist? No thanks, 920. Yeah, so I will wait until I don't have other things distracting me, and then I'll watch that show, Lie to Me. You have the same sense of humor as a rock, which is still better than Trump. I think some people would think that I have a sense of humor of a rock too.
Right away.
Do you want to put that up there?
Have you seen that?
Or should I leave it here?
I'll take it. Did you get a call?
No.
Okay.
Well, that's what you think, 87287. Maybe I do. All right. Maybe I'm neither of the above. None of the above? All right. Yeah, a lot of people make me laugh. No, actually, that's true. Not many people make me laugh. I'm a very hard person to make laugh. I like wordplay, puns, things like that, so that's good. I avoid any chemicals in my clothing, 504. Well, thank you, 920. I hope you learn a lot from your English teachers. English teachers are trying to teach you great things. Like maybe capitalize people's names and capitalize your own name. You can do so on a keyboard by hitting Shift and the letter at the same time. I didn't know that either, 971. All right.
Yeah, I guess it's another rainy night. The chemtrails are working. It's been very rainy here. Rain.
Oh, Hillary admitted WikiLeaks was legit.
Oh, did she? Really?
I don't know.
She has to deal with the John Podesta leaks. I mean, she's just skating along the brain death of the Democratic Party. She's the only reason why Hillary has even reached the point where she's noticed so much of a resurgence is because the Democrats are afraid of change. Ironically, they were the ones that wanted change, but now they're afraid of losing power. They're afraid of change. Yeah. They won't even admit any of the mistakes Obama made. They certainly won't look at Hillary's emails. Yeah, you probably watched right, Todere. Yeah, she never said that. Well, I don't really care what she said. It's almost irrelevant, everything she said, because we know she's lying. So why do people believe in a liar? That's the question. That's a common problem with people that are clearly, in a history of sociopathy, where for years.
Pretty crazy.
What is it?
A person. I think it's a person with camouflage right there.
Yeah, with a gun.
With a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. You're right.
That's pretty cool.
You want to look at that online on the screen?
Sure.
Sarah has this picture that just came in from Scissor Fight.
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, can you see it?
It says, I bet you can't see it. Like or share once you find it. And see where it's darker gray? Like closer to David on the up near where it says see it.
It's a sniper pointing a gun right at you.
He's got a floppy hat.
Yep. It's a sniper. You got it. You got good eyes. She's got good eyes.
Well, I have like pictures like that of hidden things, but usually they're like animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Trump and Hillary it's an even match. I think we're going down the line here. I don't think he did enough to rake her over the coals regarding GMOs. He didn't talk a bit about the dangers of all the genetically modified organisms that are in our food diet. I mean, that's a serious issue with a lot of people. He could have won votes over that. He missed out.
The position I would like to serve in the military, I'll tell you the position.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Commander-in-Chief's assistant. Commander-in-Chief assistant. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm ready to take over the reins of this country, Sarah. Thank you. We're ready to go. Just give me the power, and I will lead you to a better place. A place where you can drink fresh water. That if you are suffering from some after effects of fracking, the government will provide you with a filtration system and spare filters, as many as you need, to get good clean water to your family. That's a huge difference between what Trump or Hillary are talking about. They don't care about the water you're drinking. They don't even care about the food you're eating. That's my point. I mean, put your money where your mouth is, and frankly, your future is where your mouth is. Some people don't pay extra for organic food. I've been buying organic food lately. I just said to Sarah, I'm going to pay an extra 30%. I don't care. Thank you. I appreciate writing me in. Some people think that I am from the movie The Matrix. They think that I'm Mr. Anderson. That I'm somehow not who I say I am. It's simply preposterous, Mr. Anderson. It's simply not the way. I think you are bi-curious and you wonder what it would be like to be with a man because you are secretly attracted to me and I'm not gay. So that's what I think is going on. My hands are much bigger than any of the other competitors. I have a pirate's face. I look the way I want to look. I'm running a campaign in which I need more of myself. So I offer you this. I am the only candidate who's offering you all $400 per month. You could put in your piggy bank. If you don't use it for 3 years, it'll go to zero. Yes. Calling me out as a homosexual is your mistake, sir. You will end up becoming lonely and never find a beautiful woman like I have with Sarah. I have never installed an IP tracker in this show. I have asked all of my support team to further corroborate this information. Am I correct? Is there an IP counter in this show? No, not at all. We're not allowed to listen to your IP. It is against the law, but the NSA records this into perpetuity for 18 months at least. Many of you are wondering, what do I chat about if I have nothing on my mind? So you say, we must talk about transgenderism. Well, this is because you've been trained. You've been turned into a babbling sexaholic. What part of the libido do you not understand? I am hilarious. We know. You see, I've been living with my twin brother for the past 12 years. We're co-joined at the hip. Dave and his Siamese bro, Dave 2. We like each other and we do everything identical. I think that's ridiculous. Don't be silly. Hey, let's talk about something like, I don't know, Wasteful Wednesday. We're going to talk about dealing with renewable energy. I'd like to deal with renewable energy, if you don't mind. Let's introduce the ocean pipeline, shall we? We can talk about, or the ocean, yeah. Using the ocean to create fresh water. Now that's a cool idea, isn't it? Using the money we get from the fresh water to create communities and grow all kinds of things. Wow, you're really out there, dude. I'm here. All signs point to a corporate lawyer. A corporate takeover of the marijuana industry by Bayer and Monsanto. Check this out, guys. They are so ready for legalization that they want to actually own it, and they don't want people like me who want recreational marijuana. They want the medical version so that only they can make it and sell it and have all kinds of money from it. Welcome to big marijuana cannabis business. Following months of negotiations and various offers, German-based Bayer has finally sealed a deal with Monsanto, purchasing the seed giant for $666.6 billion. The merger is reported to be the largest all-cash deal on record. Wow. It also means more genetically modified organisms. Yeah, it could take over the marijuana industry. An intimate business relationship with Scott's Miracle-Gro, a convicted corporate criminal, and Scott's Miracle-Gro is trying to take over the marijuana industry. So Monsanto has an intimate business relationship. A convicted corporate criminal with Scott's Miracle-Gro. I don't understand that. I guess I have to read the article. Wow. Trump doesn't matter, no. He is irrelevant to this race. I've never been arrested. I have a zero criminal record. Why do you come in here and lie about me? David, are you on the short list for United Americans vice president? No. You know, a lot of this criticism, I say no to GMO weed, but, I can tell you, I've tried a little of this product they call Kush. I don't think Hillary won, no. I don't think Trump won. I don't think either one won. I think the people that really won are the American people for realizing they're not really representing you. You won by sitting there going, I don't trust these people. Well, Kush is a hybridized sativa and indica. Very similar. Oh, go to hell, you know, when Donald Trump said he was a pro-life, I wanted to gag. That was like lie number 12 out of the 80 lies they did tonight. Anyway, I've got him on record talking about how he really supports abortion or pro-choice. Yeah, so I mean, how can a person just flat out do that? And we played that for you during the show. Well, it's the deal is anything that makes you happy is good as long as it's not killing you. And when they make genetically modified weed to handle more pesticides, you're not going to want to smoke a paraquat bud. Hey, dude, you got any like paraquat in your bud? That's going to be a problem. Hey, watch your language, buddy. Don't talk about my sister that way. I'm going to kick your ass. Do you understand me? Yeah. You think you're fooling me, man? I support a first trimester law. Yes. Doobster says, say yes to natural born bud. This is coming from the expert Doobster. It will make us happy to smoke a good bowl. Say yes to writing in David Sponheim for president. Yes, thank you, Doobster. Thank you very much. You must be terminated. I have a cybernetic organism, human flesh of a metal exoskeleton. Yeah. Hasta la vista, baby. God, man. It's so fun to do the show because I get a chance to really read your chat. Somebody has an orange. Are you eating an orange? Somebody's eating an orange right now. I can see it. What the hell? You think I'm nuts? And you heard the debate and you don't realize how completely controlled the government is? Oh my God. You're clearly delusional. Okay. Well, you know, just use a condom if you don't want a baby. I mean, it's simple as that. Calling me a fag? Dude, you've never seen a heterosexual man, apparently. Have you been like, are you one of the fluff girls at your boys' camp? What the hell? What kind of a freak are you? You're calling me an entertainer? Huh. Dude looks like a what? Dude, you have no idea, man. You've never seen a surfer, have you? Yeah, you want to look at a real fag. Look at Obama. Case in point. Dave, it's funny how you make fun of Trump, but not Trump. Trump bot, not Trump? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, Randy. Now, this is the next level of where I'm going to go. Y'all think I'm black, and I told you I'm not black. I'm a definite Caucasian. And to prove it, I'm going to get some really cool hair to make me look more like a surfer. Alright? Thank you. I was very shocked that you were unhappy with the wig earlier, and repeat. Beep. Resetting hard drive. Beep. Hold, please. Beep. 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 Re-engineering face. Beep. I rather like this new look. I think it would look better on me than the wig I'm currently wearing, personally. David, you're such a faggot. Man, I can't believe the way you talk to me, man. You realize how bad you're going to get your butt kicked? Yeah. I'm going to personally get the butt kickers out to just beat your butt. I was not talked about at the debate, no. Raise to disabled veterans and retirees' income. Excellent point, guest 576 has an excellent point. They should raise the income for veterans who are disabled and retirees. I absolutely agree. Phenomenal. And by the way, don't you agree that Donald Trump did an excellent job of reducing the snort count to 36? Randy, you've been in our show for 17 years, and you still don't understand the hybrid capitalist concept. Well, let's get started. We want to base everything on the initial concept of donating money as opposed to your tax dollars. So we're going to start with the renewable energy savings bonds. Yes, ways to finance growth opportunities. Now, when Hillary talks about new innovations, she's using buzzwords. Hybrid capitalism is the idea of funding things using investment capital from the people. For instance, the war bonds of the 1940s. So it's a completely different concept. Whoa, hi. I really am 26. Totally. I know, I've been playing like the 56-year-old guy for like a while. You know? It's kind of a bummer because, you know, when I do my makeup, you know, I have to have these like crow's feet and like lines on my forehead, dude. Yeah, I'm like playing this dude named David Sponheim. For sure. Oh God. Okay, let's get this show rolling, shall we? Sarah's going to be going as Princess Leia on October 31st, just so you know. She has the look mastered. She'll be doing some amazing work with her hair. And I will be going as Donald Rump, the infamous swine pig, corporate pig. Yes, and he will be phenomenal. He'll be wonderful. He'll be wonderful. Yes, getting older is a blessing, Mad Dog. I know that when I turned 56, I felt I needed to embrace my agedness. You know, I know people who are my age, 56, that, oh, come on, Trump is not in any way a winner on this one, dude. He's like Karen, he's in the middle of Gropegate, and you guys are in denial. I never groped a bitch. You really are. I mean, you're a lot of you serial womanizers are like, yeah, he's like really getting nailed by these women lying about him. Tell me about it. How many women's asses have you grabbed at a bar? Huh? Trump is a borrower. I'm not a borrower. I have no debt. I probably have more net worth than he does if you look at my collection. And if you compare my collection to his collection, I can assure you I've got a bigger collection. Props to Hillary for putting up with Trump interrupting her, though. Yes, I thought that Hillary was remarkably robotized during this entire ceremony. Do I like what? You are sick, dude. Man, I can't believe I have bigger hands. Oh, come on. Hey, isn't this fun? Dubster, I don't think anyone thought tonight's debate he did a good at the beginning. At once Hillary crawled under Trump's skin. The angry really showed. I was disappointed tonight's debate. I feel nothing made sense. I agree. Good point, Dubster. Well point. No, I was actually a member of crew at UCLA. I did not have an athletic loss. I had no losses whatsoever. You know, I am surprised Trump didn't go over there and give her, you know, a little pussy grab. Yeah, that's something I would have expected from a serial groper. I personally think that Trump has all the symptoms of vagina envy. And Hillary has all the symptoms of penis envy. So you have two independent psychoneurotic events going on simultaneously. What am I grabbing? It's an imaginary beard. And what about all these weird hand signals, the Illuminati hand signals? Did you see those that Trump was pulling? Yeah, I wouldn't trust anybody who made Illuminati hand signals during the show. My hands are pretty limp. They are in limp mode. Yes. When activated, they become bigger hands, stronger hands, greater hands, more powerful hands. Woo! You like that? You like the testosterone? Yeah, a lot of people, really get off on the manly Dave. Yeah. No, I'm just drinking a little coffee. I'm addicted to caffeine. So seriously, do you think I should buy that wig? I think it looks pretty good. I do indeed. I think it's the next one I'm going to purchase. Yeah. People are saying, when I don't wash my hair, it comes out flat. So I said, okay, I'll try this wig. No, I don't smoke crack. I never did smoke crack. Unlike Barack Obama, who, well, let's be clear. When he was an Occidental, he hit the crack pipe. Oh, you're right. I picked a stump out in my woods. It's perfect. It even looks like strump. I'm putting this on the stump, and I'm going to put it on a pedestal back here. It'll be the wig to stump scissor fight. Yeah. Oh my God, I haven't laughed this much since I was in traction. The wig is $34.99. For only $34.99, you'll have a brand new hair. I've heard that crack has a 97% recidivism rate. And for all y'all who don't know what I'm talking about, that means you're going to be on crack the rest of your life. So, if you are a person who dabbles in the powder, and you have a serious snorting problem, oh my God, the voices. You probably are going to end up as a crack addict. You will end up in a crack house in Amsterdam with your teeth falling out. Eventually you'll have to get higher and higher, and eventually you'll turn to heroin, and then you'll die. North Korean Zood chimp smokes a pack a day because life is cruel in North Korea. Wow, this is sad. This North Korean monkey is extremely unhappy. Very sad indeed. Look at that. Smokes a pack a day. I need to hold on. Oh yes, thank you so much. I don't think I've seen a smoking monkey before. Oh really? David Nation has a reputation at Big 3. No kidding. David, have you seen the one with a frog? No, I haven't. I guess I'm kind of missing a lot of that stuff. Hey, here's a quarter pounder with cheese. A pretty new concept. With many states allowing marijuana legalization, we're going to be looking at some of the vendors. You know, Costco's been talking about selling marijuana. You knew that, right? Costco. Yeah, I haven't seen it. They haven't rolled this out yet, but here's a quarter pounder with cheese available at your nearest. Okay, so let's talk about getting a composting gun, because we need to do a lot of composting. And one of the reasons why I want to get legalization on board is because we need to finance the growth of the composting systems we need to build. And these composting systems can take in food waste in the backs of markets. Because believe it or not, 50% of our nation, or its nation's food, is thrown in the garbage, in the garbage. 50%. That's pretty sad. So I have a plan to definitely convert that into a compost. And having national composting centers in every area would be the key to getting all that food waste out there. Plus, we'd encourage markets to wholesale, move it. People will make soups with that food. And when we use our food more efficiently, we won't end up like this. The average life of a Californian in the future. And that brings me not only to the composting plan and the legalization plan, but another reason to vote for me, which is the ocean pipeline, which is my idea. It's not Donald Trump's, despite his mentioning the Ocean Dome, which is a clear ripoff of me. Yes. And here it is. Okay, so how does this relate to you? Well, if you're in California, you're going to want to get some water real soon, and we want to get you that water. And as president, we would be able to solve the problems facing California regardless of what's going on in the skies. Now, I'm the only presidential candidate who's actually talking about ending chemtrails. So that's something a lot of you will have to understand is a big part of our plan to clean up the atmosphere. Because I believe that they are artificially engineering weather modification. And this attempt has been primarily to create the illusion of, I don't really want to watch an ape rape a frog, but thank you so much. Yeah, our brain power can do a little bit better than that. We're going to kick it up to a whole nother level in a few minutes. So some of you may drop off and become functionally retarded. Okay, now the poll, it used to be 58%. Now legal pot support hits a record high in America, folks. This just in from Scissor Fight. 60% support it. A new Gallup poll, 60% support legalization. Its time has come. So Donald and Hillary will not legalize. I will. Another reason to get people to vote for me in this election. When the Gallup first asked about this issue in '69, 12% supported it. By 2000, 31%, reaching 58% last year. Yay, yay. Yeah, it's going to be good. And it's helping a lot of people like Doopster. You're a person who suffers from a little PTSD, and smoking some marijuana helps you sleep. That's a good thing. I support the Second Amendment. Yes. Yeah, well, the Gallup poll is completely wrong insofar as it doesn't include me, yeah. No, everyone really wants legal marijuana because they don't want to be prosecuted. You know, there's so many people that, yeah, why don't they ban tobacco? Exactly, good point. There's so many people that are getting false charges, illegal possession. Nearly 700,000 people a year get arrested for possession of marijuana in our country, even though 20 states legalize it. And you're telling me there's not a problem with that? And 60% want legalization? I mean, come on. Come on. So the lie count went down at 90, and the snort count was at 36. That's pretty good. Yeah, so Donald kept his snorting down significantly. But, you know, he didn't really take on the banner that I would want to talk about. Prosecuting Obama, the bi-Muslim married to a tranny. Yeah, I don't think Donald has the balls. I don't think he's got the balls. Okay? I don't think Mr. Trump has the balls to say this. Okay? Big difference here. Okay? So I don't want to waste any more of your time. Okay? Dave, is that a Hillary wig or a Trump wig? It's a tranny wig, I guess a transfer between the two. It's not a tranny wig, it's a... I misspoke. It's a hybrid wig. Thank you. Did I say tranny? I'm sorry. You're so tranny-phobic. If I even say the word, you're going to freak. Yeah. Hey, what's happening, dude? Okay, man. Okay, yeah, totally gnarly, man. It'll be both. It'll be a Trump-Hillary wig combo. So you notice that I'm the guy who talked about the 1,000-mile fence in 2008. Many of you were in my show back then. The 1,000-mile fence was a big part of our show. And Trump is now thinking it's his idea, and he acts like, you know, sure. But he's right about that. We do need a fence. We do need to shore up our borders. But, you know, just jumping on ideas that were out there, it's understandable he's going to do that, but he doesn't really address the key issues. Now, Trump thinks that there is no drought in California. He actually said there is no drought in California. It makes him kind of out of it. My ideas are better than any of those out there. 15 of my ideas have been taken already. What are you talking about? No, Rasta Pasta, it's not about could have been me. I don't think you understand. It's beyond that. All of this is going to come back to haunt the status quo. What I'm doing is building so much momentum on the internet. They're going to have to literally take a stick and kill me, all right? Just to stomp me out, because I'm spreading like wildfire. What you're looking at is the scrim of a censored internet. Vaughn has a limiter on how many people can come in here. Yeah, seriously. And when here I'm showing you the Vaughn chat room I'm responding to here, folks. Yeah, this is kind of interesting because they only limit a certain number of viewers in the room, and if you're watching this worldwide, you can't get in here. And because this is being filmed all around the world, because it's a regular show and people like the content, it is something that people are just kind of like drawn to. So all of you brain-dead moron Trump tards and Clint tards who think, oh, you'll never get into American politics, nobody is ever going to vote for you, is the only reason why you think that is because you have been brainwashed by your own power elitists in your own parties to think that. But the two-party system is going down. Do you understand me? And believe me, Trump is totally part of the two-party system. So he is, when he loses to Hillary in this election, I then pick up steam because basically I am the originator of these ideas, not Trump. And the people are loving the fact that these ideas resonate among the American people. They don't want a drought in California. And they certainly don't want illegals and refugees coming over the border. Now, these are the ideas I've been running on for the past 8 years. And for him to hijack this campaign just 2 years ago and pretending to be an anti-Barack Obama birther guy, and then using you birther people, and now he turned on you because he's not going to prosecute Barack Obama, ever. And he wouldn't go so far as to call him a bi-Muslim married to a tranny. He doesn't have the balls to do that, okay? The feds already have your face in a database. Look to your left, look to your right. Do you see two people? Congrats on being social today. One of those TP people is probably included in the FBI massive facial recognition database. There's 117 million people in this database, about 50% of the population. Well, I'm just glad they can't put my face in the database because I've never been on camera. Oh, come on, dude. I'm already undermining your power structure. No, I'm not. I've got the ideas with the social concerns. I'm a person who cares about the homeless. I'm the guy who's been talking about the environment. I'm all of the above. I am the best of the left and the best of the right. I am in the center of the political spectrum. I am the person that can galvanize solutions for the country, like the Renewable Energy Savings Plan. Originally an idea of ours, has never been borrowed yet by anyone, which I'm thankful for. Well, if you think I'm ugly, that's fine, you know. I am not going to allow that kind of chat. Let's get serious. How are we going to stop you being a racist? Why don't you just stop with a racist? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Ed died. We haven't heard from him. Why don't you find out? Contact the hospital where he was spending the last days of his life. Ask him if Ed Gardner is there. Like Chauncey Gardner? Okay. Thank you. Get back to me and contact my agent. So we've got new slogans that the other guys don't have. Another reason, you know, to consider what we're doing. So the ocean pipeline is definitely something that we talk about every night. I know. Oh, he had surgery? Are you serious? What was the surgery for? Does anybody know what his surgery was about? Maybe you know more about it than I do. I mean, we don't know what happened to Ed. We're a little concerned. So, yeah, I'm a marathon broadcaster. I know. You're the horny one. I've been doing this for so long that I don't think... I think I have become the fixture on the internet. And that's a good thing, because I really enjoy it. I don't mind filling these roles. No different than any other person, because, frankly, I do this for my own personal edification. I believe that I have to do something to stop this corruption in our country. It's the worst I've ever seen in my life. Ever since I was a child watching Cricky Dink, my fellow Americans, I am not a crook. I just believed in my heart, this guy is a crook. And somehow I didn't believe that Jimmy Carter was just all sunshine and peanuts. I had an addiction to peanuts, but I stopped. Hey, thank you. Go right ahead. I got our first write-in candidate, everybody. At 943 just filled in his ballot. Thank you so much. Excellent. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Thanks, Rodney. Okay, did you hear we got a Rodney call the other night? You go ahead and call him, Charles. Ed Gardner. Rolling, rawhide. Keep these tanks a-growing, rolling. We got the ISIS formation in Mosul. You know, just as the election heats up, of course, we're starting an offensive with Iraq against a team of people that we probably installed called ISIL-ISIS. We all know that Barack Obama pushed for higher amounts of ISIL forces in the region of Mosul. And it's ironic that now we're fighting ISIS. So you see what they're doing. They're creating their own problem. They're seeding the very terrorism and wars around the world that continue to persist. Case in point, a video played by Obama showing him admitting that he indeed was building up ISIL forces in the region. Yes. Check this out.
Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
Which happen to be the enemies of the Shiite-led government. Okay, so that's going to be a video we'll play in a little while. Cool, thank you. Dankeschön, darling, Dankeschön. Darling, Dankeschön, Dankeschön, Dankeschön. That's German for thank you. You know what? People are really kind of amazed at how I got such a winning attitude, you know? I had a smiling picture the other day, and people said, Dave, that's really that's a humdinger, man. You really know how to shine. So check out my new smiling photograph. I'm thinking of putting that on the poster. Did Ed make it? I don't know. Different Ed, Neil. It's not Ed Applegate. Yeah, no crap. They were training ISIL, and now they're fighting ISIS. You see what's going on? That was me before I became young again. I had a bad attitude, and it was kind of shining in so many different ways. Not a good photo? Oh, really? You don't like it? You don't like Dave, the mean guy? Okay. I'll say goodbye to Dave, the mean guy. Put Hillary's face up. Hillary Clinton. Okay. You look mad. Well, you think there's a reason why I'd be mad? My tribal history's been stripped from me. I couldn't even get a college education. Yeah. I was a victim of affirmative action. People said I was white. When in my entire tribe, blackface was considered a ritual. You can imagine the conflict. And here I did a blackface impersonation of Barack Obama, which is completely concurrent with my tribal history. And I get called out as a racist. Can you imagine? Yeah. Russia was the big winner in this debate. Yep, Russia has Hillary by the short hairs and Donald by the short hairs. Yes. Russia is working on Donald through the Russian mob, controlling the purchases of various condominiums around the world, owned by the Trumpster. Yeah, that's how they've been funding him, kind of priming his pump, knowing he could run. And then when he ran, he's their guy. He's their little go-by. Yes, he is. He's going to do whatever Putin wants. He'll kiss their ass. No, I'm not gay. I told you that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You think I'm ugly? You haven't seen anything yet. You can't stand me. You can't stand me, period. You just don't like me. Well, isn't that too bad? Yeah. Some of you just want to get liked so much you think it matters to other people that you don't like them.
Certainly.
Thank you, Rodney.
Of course.
Thank you.
Why not? Yes, absolutely. Right away.
David, if Hillary wins, does that mean World War III? No. It means the slow boil of the frog. A continued boil of your liberties. More executive orders implementing vaccinations. Gradually, they'll have RoboCops going door to door going... Well, let me be the RoboCop for a second. Hang on. Yeah, Hillary already has enough. You're right. I'll have to sneak up on her though. We could win over her electoral votes. See, the thing is, people they don't want to be openly in love with debt. Hillary will borrow just as much as Barack or Trump. And she'll do the same thing that Trump would do, borrow money, because they're both in the thing for extended credit, and the World Bank and the IMF and the Fed.
King of debt. I love debt. They're prevented from using. Don't forget, I'm the king of debt. I love debt.
He's the king of debt. He loves debt. So he'll want to expand the debt to Russia as well. So kiss your country goodbye, whether Hillary and Donald get elected. They will both bend over. Hillary already has connections with uranium mining. 20% of uranium mining in the U.S. is being managed by Russia. Tell me that's not kind of screwed up. The real thing, folks, is that the global elitists are pushing an agenda that's separate from any country. It has no physical country alliance. It's completely untethered. We are now in the extended zone of our show, where I go into more of an intellectual approach and talk to you about some of the issues, head-to-head, political issues, charged issues. So let's go for it. I worked myself into a lather tonight talking about nonsense. I want to focus on the issues here. You think war with Russia is imminent? I think that's one of the agendas of the super rich, the super powerful, because they want to get rid of all the countries. Remember, if they get the countries to fight each other in a conventional war, this is exactly what Henry Kissinger said. There will be low-intensity conflict, small eruptions of violence around the world. It's really a new world order. And we heard him say these things, and it's like, wow, this is America being eaten by the global machine. This is our country being munched up by the global machine. It'll turn us into just another resource to be harvested by the wealthy elitists, the Rothschilds. So, folks, this is probably the best election you'll ever have to break away from the powerful hold the elitists, the New World Order has on our country. And they are pulling the purse strings of politics. The only reason why I'm still surviving so well is because I don't require a penny to do this. I've done this for free for the past 8 years. I don't draw a single penny because I made a vow of poverty at a very young age. And I chose to not be materialistic, and it gave me the edge over them. I'm using my non-materialism as a wedge against the super elite by using the internet and powerfully pushing a third-party message that's real and tangible. So we don't want our country to get crushed and eaten by a global new world order like this car crusher is doing to this car. We don't want to be turned into the mechanistic hamburger of the cybernetic world run by the elitists. We don't want that for ourselves. We are better than that. We are more advanced. We are Martian. Good to the last drop. Good to the last drop. Hey, everybody. Yes. You gotta watch the final minute, can't you? Oh man, look at that. Munch, munch, munch. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, American Experiment is ending. Ray Walston, yeah, that was my favorite Martian. Thank you, Charles. Ray Walston was cool, but Bill Bixby was the man. I really enjoyed Bill Bixby in Courtship of Eddie's Father. Great show. Yeah, looked like your mother-in-law having dinner. She's the jaws of death. I think Canada's a beautiful country, and I respect it. Trump wants to invade it. He literally hates Canada. I don't get that. I really, and I know we've got a lot of Canadian supporters here. So this is head-to-head with Dave, 8 to 8, or 9 to 9:30. Yeah, me talking directly to the chat room. Doing what I do normally, but without all the shtick. You know, it's a candid time to talk to Dave and see what I have on my mind. I'm personally appalled by the lack of concern about the environment by both Hillary and Donald. I was kind of taken back by this simple fact that Hillary was reading most of the things she said, which really bugged me. I don't know if it bugged you when she's reading her comments. Thanks, Mr. Dork. Yeah, I'm getting another one soon. Check out the other one I'm going to try to order. They have a buy it now option. I might just do it. It's a kind of a really small, lightweight, less than this. This is a little bit heavier. Yeah, I think I'm going to get that one too. Yeah, I could get a fro. Fros are in now. A lot of young people in my area, African Americans, are wearing fros. Hillary is. Did you hear she had a massive blow up when she had this interview with Matt Lauer? And after the interview, she ripped into her staff. Now, none of Hillary's staff are allowed to have any cell phones because she doesn't want anyone taking pictures or audio recordings of her having temper tantrums. Yeah, it's kind of the backstory about Hillary right now is that she has these big temper tantrums. Yeah, Matt Lauer tore her up, ripped her a new one. You know, he's had a lot of heat for all the crap in his life, so he's kind of stepping out of the box as a journalist, which is interesting. We go way back.
Sure thing.
So, if you have a concern about Hillary's decency and honesty, you're in the majority, because I don't think she's honest. I think she's on the take, and I think the Clinton Foundation, she couldn't step out of that pile of crap if she tried, especially with all the WikiLeaks and reveals that have been going on and all the paybacks that she has received for speaking events. It reeks of pay for play. Pay for play is this new phenomenon in government. It's been going on a long, long time, but it's something she and Bill have mastered using the shield of a foundation and the 501c4 status of a publicly traded nonprofit, which is really, really weird the way they maneuvered and manipulated. So Hillary and Bill really are the poster children of the type of corruption that's almost atypical in our country. No, I'm not insane. But Donald has a very good point about voter fraud, and I really respect the fact that he's still fighting that cause, even though he's using it for his own gain. But remember, this is a guy that manipulates anything he can to make himself look good. That's how he managed to have 4 corporate bankruptcies and walk unscathed. So he is very good at converting his liabilities to assets. And a guy like that can take all his liabilities, put them in a bag, and say, "Can I take a loan out? If I have all these properties, they're very close to bankrupt, but could I take a loan out?" And they'll give him a loan. You know how most car dealerships stay in business? They borrow money on their property. And they have deals where they have to advertise with the bank. The bank says you've got to advertise on TV if you want to be a car dealership. So they look like they're being successful, but most of them just continually take loans out like Trump did. CNN would say Trump lost, yeah. Well, he's 9 points down. He's been 9 points down, up to 14 points down in the swing states from Hillary. And it's mostly due to a demographic alteration because there's so many Democrats over Republicans. But we're seeing a lot of people leave the Democratic Party right now. We're seeing a lot of people leave the Republican Party. Yeah. But CNN will say that Trump lost. I could take you to Red Ice Radio right now and show you that they're almost 99% Trump won. They believe in Trump. And they had like a ridiculous count where they had Trump won on 99 issues. Well, yeah, everything's BS. The fact that they even revealed polls the day of the election is really strange. But it's a moot point because now most people are filling out their polls or their ballots in advance with the absentee ballot system. 85% of the American people are going to be voting by mail about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the election. Well, the fact that the poll numbers are out there the day of the election in America is really shows how undemocratic we are. We're allowing slanted media to control our vote. Yeah, I believe it. I'm sure they mentioned my name on CNN. Not. Look at it, guys. I've been censored for so long. It would be they'd have to arrive with camera crews in front of my house and give me a week's worth of views on the mainstream media for me to even recover from the massive 8 years of censorship that's been going on here. It's amazing. I'm just a living litmus test to how the Americans are completely shut down and ignored. Yet my ideas, Sarah and I, we have worked on ideas, they're being taken, cannibalized. Yeah. No, I'm wearing a wig right now. I had to. Somebody was ragging on my hair earlier. Yeah. And the reason why I picked up these funky wigs is because people were asking me to look differently on the show. Yeah, totally. Chuck Norris is 20 years older than me. Nice wig hairdo. There you go. See, I get a lot of compliments with this wig. Hillary is, I don't know, Bill and Hillary seem like demons unto themselves. I think they're both part demon, you know? Bill recently called Hillary a demon. Hello, Walter. Good evening. Katerina liked Trump. Katerina believes that I am somehow censored on YouTube. But she likes Trump. Interesting. KY Poopy is all alone there in the iBlog chat room. Nobody chats with KY Poopy. Oh. So sorry, dude. So sorry. Yeah, so I could give you the Hillary Demon story later. Let's talk about Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire song.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, crooked as can be. Liar, liar, pants on fire, that's our Hillary. Whitewater and cattle futures, Lincoln spent for rent. FBI files in her home that had her fingerprints. Rose Law Firm billing records went missing for a time, but just until the SOL had run out for the crime. Her plane touched down in Bosnia under sniper fire. Exhibit 666 from our congenital liar. The girl who shared her poem must have been a Navy SEAL. Dodging bullets on the tarmac, really no big deal. Liar, liar, pants on fire, crooked as can be. Liar, liar, pants on fire, that's our Hillary. She flunked the DC bar exam, but it's not about cognition. She said, I can't recall 50 times in deposition. White House furniture and china she had to give back. Honesty is not the only moral code she lacks. Her speech at the convention, most important of her life. Bill took a nap, hands in his lap, ouch, that had to bite. She spoke for 1 whole hour and didn't make us pay. But for just 20 minutes, Wall Street gave $300K.
I don't feel no ways tired.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, crooked as can be. Liar, liar, pants on fire, that's our Hillary. 30,000 wiped out emails, that was sure a winner. They were all about her yoga class and Chelsea's wedding dinner. She said they weren't top secret when sent or when received, but the FBI said yeah they were. Who do you believe? The White House travel office was another major fail. She stuffed it with her cronies after firing Billy Dale. The DNC and Sanders, $6 billion gone from state. Clinton Foundation, CGI, how long should Haiti wait?
It's time for the United States to start thinking of Iraq as a business opportunity.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, crooked as can be. Liar, liar, pants on fire, that's our Hillary. She lined her pantsuit pockets with foreign donations, passed through Canada to the Clinton Foundation. Oman and Saudi princes, she really made their day, while all the rest of us are the ones who get to pay. Perhaps the worst of all was her Benghazi lie. Told parents that a video was why sons had to die. 3 a.m. call unanswered, proof she is a fake. Then she had the nerve to say,
What difference at this point does it make?
Liar, liar, pants on fire, crooked as can be. Liar, liar, pants on fire, that's our Hillary. Roger Clinton out of prison when his pardon came. Mark Rich was still a fugitive, the story is the same. His pardon cost $1 million and helped for Hillary. Relax, folks, now just move along, there's nothing here to see. Hubby Bill chases the skirts just like Anthony Weiner. His brother said Bill's nose for blow was like a vacuum cleaner. The fast right-wing conspiracy, another of her tales. Lock her up, the people say, let ISIS pay her bail.
Because we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, that's our Hillary. Liar, liar, pants on fire, crooked as can be. So now we have this Hillary, a liar and a thief. She wants us all to make her the commander-in-chief. She'll take the oath of office and say, so help me God. Fingers crossed behind her back with a wink and a nod.
We are going to raise taxes on the middle class.
Don't let anybody tell you that it's corporations and businesses that create jobs.
That was simply preposterous. I can't possibly accept that. Was that a good movie or what? Sorry. Okay, so, yeah, we are in the midst of the final wind down, exposing the truth with Dave every night. I didn't have an old toupee. Yeah, I got real hair, everybody, and I get dang tired of you guys making fun of my real hair. So I just decided to go ahead and wear a wig, you know? I mean, have you ever heard the old adage that you can call a person an alcoholic and they may not ever have had a beer or anything? And the more you call them an alcoholic, the more likely they're going to be a beer drinker. I mean, seriously. No, I was not at the grocery store groping you. David, you look like Boris Johnson. Thank you. Charles Foster Kane. Thank you very much. Guess 966. I'm Googling Boris Johnson. Hold on, please. Oh, yes. Oh, I see, yes, it's very similar. I would say that he and I could be relatives if I gained a few pounds. It's true. Many of you are from the UK and strongly believe in... Yes, he could very well be a relative of mine. Yes, good point. I'm a winner. I'm a driver. People like me. I would say that our look is almost uncanny. In a few short years, if I continue eating my Oompa Loompas and my bonbons, I'll look just like him. I would say I have to gain at least 50 more pounds, but I will be a strong contender to be Boris Johnson myself. I can move to England and drink pints of beer every day. Yes. You can't handle the truth. Sorry. Nice big super howdy, by the way. Thank you. I'll do the call. No, it's not a coincidence that I bought just it's not a toupee, it's a wig. And I was trying to find it online, but I was down to one single shot, and I found a better wig. I'm going to get this wig. I think it would look better on me. I think the wig I'm wearing is pretty good, but I think that's a better wig. I don't know about you, but I'm going to buy it. Buy it now. Yeah.
Do a Michael Jackson impersonation. I don't think I can. I'd have to go to Neverland Ranch. I don't want to do that.
Or I could talk down here in these low registers.
Hey. Oh, yeah. Oh, they won't help the Irish? Okay. Well, whatever. I just think that could be a better look for me. That was Roger Moore. The name's Bond. James Bond. Dave, you should talk to ECV. He knows a good wig when he sees one. Clinton crime crew colluded to make fake shooting shows. This is really good. Yeah, the truth about the DNC is really hitting the scene real fast here. Hey, Amanda.
Represent. Terrible Tim is all up in your club. Now, there's a school of thought amongst those who dabble in truth and reality that
this guy's, his account name is ETG Wetter Russell Quiff. Oh, okay. He's using his keyboard. That's special. Okie dokie. So we'll talk about the Clinton crime crew colluded to make fake shooting shows. That'll be, real wild. I do, well, I'm going to try to back out of this extended chat and sign off simply because I don't want to have to do presidential impersonations all night long.
Certainly.
So, I know that some of the people over at the NSA want me to continue doing the show, but I can't do that. I'm going to have to sign off at 9:30. Talk to Don Regan about that.
Of course.
Okay. And tell Nancy to warm the bed with one of those hot water bottles, because I'm having a little phlebitis pain.
Why not?
Thank you. Most international agreements in the United States are approved using the Trade Promotion Authority, also called Fast Track Authorization, in which the U.S. Congress is required to hold a yes or no vote on any agreements without modification. The U.S. passed a law agreeing to this fast track procedure in 2015. But TPP could very well trump that and prevent any kind of oversight over trans-Pacific partnerships. Any type of international economic building, even NAFTA agreements, which I too am against, by the way, NAFTA and CAFTA, would be signed into law simply because TPP takes force, and it's very dangerous. They could push dangerous chemicals, genetically modified food around the country, around the world. 2 dangerous fault lines under San Francisco are connected, the study finds. Well, isn't that dangerous? The looming threat of earthquakes is nothing new for Californians, but a new discovery in the heart of the San Francisco Bay has upped the risk of a historical disastrous quake. The longer a fault stretches, the bigger the earthquake it can produce, and here we've just doubled the length of this fault. Wow. That's a big deal, says David Ponce, a geologist with the research group, because the longer a fault stretches, the bigger the magnitude of an earthquake it can produce. We just read that. Isn't it funny how every single article just repeats itself throughout the entire article? Don't ask such silly questions about butt plugs, please. I don't know, is Don Regan around? That's a good question. Thanks, Charles. Okay. Everyone in here, including you, needs to get an effing life. Okay. You know, I think having a life like you want, an effing life, is not exactly ideal. Technically, the more you have sexual intercourse, the more likely you will have a sexually transmitted disease and die at a young age due to cerebral brain hemorrhaging from gonorrhea. So I don't know if having an effing life like you are having is really the way to go. No, there is no pubic hair woven into this wig whatsoever. It was a very delayed reaction. Guy drinks cyanide, lives to tell the tale. Let's find out about Rasputin and how he survived. Two minutes to the final moments of this show. Non-stop entertainment to the max. 5-minute video about a guy who does cyanide. Is this worth watching, or should we just not do that? How many people want to watch a guy drink cyanide and live through it? That's sick, man. It's like a snuff film. I don't know if I want to watch that. Super Dave videos were funny, yeah. You got a Super Dave Osborne video? I'm going to go ahead and interview myself here for a few minutes. So, Dave, what do you think? How was the debate? What was your reaction overall? Well, thanks, Dave. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. You know, I can't tell you how many times people go through my life not asking me those important questions. And I feel much closer to you now, Dave, that you asked me those questions. Well, thanks, Dave.
Come on.
I felt disgusted by the simple fact that Donald Trump has stolen my ideas and I wasn't allowed to get in the debate. It made me feel really bad. And our country's been virtually ignored, the people. You got a kooky clown fools one, okay, that looks good. And I just feel that at this point we need to put a happy face on this entire nightmare and say, you know, Susan Sarandon put it very well. She said if Trump were to win, and she didn't like Hillary, even though she thought at one point Hillary had something, Susan Sarandon doesn't like Hillary. We'll play you that video tonight. But after a while she said, you know, if Trump were to win this, it would just push the revolution sooner. And I almost think that if either Hillary or Donald wins, which inevitably either one probably will, unless for some weird fluke the write-in candidate numbers grow massively through word of mouth, which you never know. I believe that we're going to be heading toward a police state in either direction. Donald with the formation of deportation forces, and no, she doesn't. Hillary has done nothing to deserve the presidency, and neither has Donald. And neither one can articulate a real plan. They just promise you things. Words. Words are cheap. Actions speak louder than words, and frankly, neither one has any track record. But you could say the same about me, but I've done 8 years of nonstop broadcasting, reaching the American people every night. And that's got to count for something. Whereas these people have never talked to the people of this country. I talk and interact every night. Interactively, the way you would expect a presidential candidate to do. So you've got to really judge people on the record of their performance. And having never skipped a beat, having never missed a show, I have an impeccable track record of maintaining this constancy. And this is exactly what I would do in the White House. Back to you, Dave. Well, thanks, Dave, for responding to me. Hillary is a woman. Barack Obama is a tranny, or is married to a tranny. Thank you. So we're going to say goodnight and bring you the videos. You don't understand censorship, many of you, and you have no idea how difficult it is to get noticed in a world that completely shuns its people. I feel sorry for a lot of you because you're missing the whole point of this operation to stop the two parties. And in a little while, you will be looking at the most corrupt government in the history of America, unable to defend the nation against the onslaught of either Gestapo-like Trump supporters or refugees pouring over the border with Hillary. And neither one will give you $400 free per month. Neither one will deal with the drought in California. And neither one will resolve the problems of GMOs, Monsanto, the death of our nation's environment, and our people, with tumor-producing chemicals going into our bodies, big pharma dominating everything. We're basically screwed without fresh water. So if you don't understand the imperative to start this third party and get a write-in vote going across the board, then you really don't understand the importance of what's happening. I don't lie. Tonight we counted 90 lies in the debate. I don't snort anything. Tonight we counted at least 36 snorts from Donald Trump. So yeah, I won the debate. And I'll continue to fight for this country to have a political voice in the government, to get somebody out there who can air our views. Politically, for my local community, 526, I ran for the U.S. House of Representatives in 2014. I garnished over 4,200 votes in my small area, and I was cheated by the Democrats and the Republicans. They stole 90% of my signs and slandered me in the foreign press. That's what I've been doing for my local community. And I am the only guy out there who's been trying and knocking on the wall for years and seeing no results in a country that claims to be free and democratic. I believe what we have is the most hypocritical, lied to, propagandized criminal government that we've ever had. And we need better people in government. We need stronger, honest people to lead this nation. And we're not getting it from these two silver spoon greedmongers who literally are living off of the fat of your credit and your debt and all of the taxes that are being levied against the American people for no apparent reason other than to pad their pocket. So good night, everybody. We'll be seeing you tomorrow for our Technology Thursday show, and I'm looking forward to it. Until then, be well. Try to just absorb the time that you're living in and try to enjoy the benefits of the people around you. We will be playing a big video tonight, the Hillary Clinton body count, which Donald Trump did not mention whatsoever, which I find rather interesting.
This is Titus Frost, spitting truth, causing glitches in the Matrix.
Titus Frost does a remarkably good job of talking about 114 people that have all mysteriously died knowing the Clintons. And we'll be talking a lot tonight about Donald Trump and his history with the Russians. All the clips I have on that will be playing as well, so a lot of you are unsure about Donald's relationship with Russia. I think many of you have to know that there is something very, very wrong with a man who has completely almost hook, line, and sinker backed the Russians in every way on almost every issue. And it begs to the question, is this guy really an American? Or is he a Russian? Or is he some sort of a neo-Nazi? Why did Donald Trump read all of the speeches of Adolf Hitler when he was married to Ivana? When he was next to his bed, he was reading those speeches. Why would a man do such a thing if he didn't have corruption in his heart? So I'm going to bring you that, and then this, and then the other, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Good night.